I'm pretty happy the Broncos got Jalen Waddle. When you wake up to that type of news, it's going to be a good day.
Going live in 10.
All right, what's going on, my friends? Now 3 o'clock. Trailblazers bounce back in a big way after Sunday's loss in Philadelphia and pound the Brooklyn Nets by 19. Denny Avdia, 18 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Tamani Kamara on fire, 18 points on 7 of 9 shooting. The Trailblazers now 1-1 on their 5-game road trip. Tomorrow they'll be in Indiana to play the Pacers. That tip-off at 4:30. Our coverage will begin at 2:30. Blazers Game Day hosted by Chris Burkhardt. Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday today. Listen to me on the Rip City Drive at 5 for your chance to win tickets to 2 different upcoming Trailblazer games. From the NFL, the Denver Broncos have added a playmaker. They send their first rounder, a third rounder, and a pick swap in the 4th round with the Dolphins in exchange for wide receiver Jalen Waddle. The NCAA tournament will kick off on Thursday. Join me at Spirit Mountain Casino inside the BetMGM Sportsbook, your place to bet on college sports. I'll be there live from 3 until 6 as we take in the action. Yeah, You Belong to the City is an awesome song. I remember the first time I heard this live back in 95 at the Eagles Hell Freezes Over tour. I was so caught up in all the Eagles songs that I had forgotten about Glenn Frey and Don Henley, and then they busted out with a lot of their solo stuff, and they did this song with an extended saxophone intro. It was fabulous. So here's what's going on today with the Rip City Drive, and I got to give props to Michael Shacker, my good friend and engineer of the program. He's been on my ass about getting out to Chiles Center for the Rip City Remix. And today is that day, and I got to give props to the Remix for their help for today's show because we're going to have a chance to shine the light on the Trailblazers G League team. And we're going to talk to a number of different people within the organization on what the Remix are, what they're trying to accomplish, but most importantly, to shine a light on one of the best family bargains in the area where you can come and check out some quality basketball at a very good price. And as you know, with the rising prices on pretty much everything in the world, it's nice when you can get a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to entertainment. So coming up here in about 20 minutes, we're going to talk with longtime NBA assistant and head coach of the Rip City Remix, Jonah Hurskew, who is one of the really good guys in the game. So we're going to talk to him about his life, his career, and his work here with the Remix and the opportunity to be a head coach. It's one thing to be an assistant and offering up suggestions. It's a totally different ballgame when you're the man in the hot seat that has to make choices. And so Jonah Hurskew will join us coming up here in 20 minutes as they get ready for the South Bay Lakers, who are in town tonight. Tip-off coming up from Chiles Center at 6 o'clock. Devon Pouncey, who is with the Trailblazers. He's doing in-arena entertainment. A great athlete himself and also one of the analysts for the Remix. He's going to join the show coming up here at about 3:40. We're also going to talk with longtime assistant with a ton of experience who's worked with many great coaches, Charles Klask. He's going to join us coming up at 5 o'clock, and we'll mix in some other things as well. But your chance to win tickets today, I've got 2 different pairs of tickets that we're going to give away for the Trailblazers today. Why? Because it's a Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday. And as you know, me, along with the Portland Trailblazers, we care about people. And if I can help people get to games without having to spend some dollars, courtesy of Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday, we're going to do that. And for all of your Trailblazer ticket needs, you can always simply go to trailblazers.com. And I'd also check out the Sunday Family Fun Days. There's one game remaining that is a Sunday Family Fun Day, and I think those have been my favorite events so far at Moda Center this year. because they set up Moda Center to be very family friendly. They have a value menu, which is genius, and everything's set up for the kids. So check that out as well. But I'm happy to be with you. If you want to jump on board, 503-248-0620. So today we're going to put the spotlight on the Rip City Remix and what the G League is all about. And we've already seen a couple of players this year who have made a name for themselves, coming from the G League on courtesy of their two-way NBA contracts with City Sissoko and Caleb Love. So it's pretty awesome. And I had a chance to run by Joe Cronin the other night, and I know how special it is for these guys when they get a chance to work with these young players and then see them make the most of the opportunity and then get rewarded with an NBA contract. It's pretty awesome. And, of course, young Hansen is getting a chance to get some experience down here with the G League as well. So we'll have all of that covered. Now, I did wake up this morning. I'll tell you what's nice is waking up in the middle of March and feeling like it's Christmas Day. And that's because the Denver Broncos, after sitting quiet through the start of free agency, causing some of Broncos country to freak out because they weren't making any moves, they weren't spending any money, and they weren't finding a playmaker at running back or at receiver. And now, today, they have made that move. They were quiet. They had restructured a couple of contracts, and now we know why. They've made a deal with the Dolphins, sending their first-round pick, which is, I think, the 30th overall selection in the upcoming draft. They send a third-rounder out, and they do a pick swap in the fourth round, and the Broncos get Jalen Waddle. Now, the beautiful thing about Jalen Waddle is that he's been ultra-productive as a Miami Dolphin, and the only reason why his numbers have come down over the last couple of years is because his quarterback Tua basically had his brain scrambled over the course of 2 seasons with all the concussions. So when your starting quarterback goes out and you're bringing in guys who are less than optimal at that position, obviously the receivers are quite dependent upon those guys to be able to make plays. But I like what the Broncos have done. They focused on the guys they have in-house. They have offered a number of contracts to guys to keep them on their roster. It's a team that was 1 game away from the Super Bowl, and had they had their starting quarterback in the AFC title game, Bo Nix, they would have won that game and been in the Super Bowl taking on the Seattle Seahawks. So the Broncos are able to bring back the majority of their guys outside of John Franklin Myers, who got a ton of money from the Tennessee Titans, and most importantly now add a playmaker. And Cortland Sutton's already a great receiver. He's kind of that Sean Payton mold where he's a big-bodied banger who can catch the ball over the middle and get those tough yards. But now you've got a guy who can take the top off the defense. And you need those type of guys, right? Because it's really hard in the NFL to go 9, 10, 11, 12-play drives and just matriculate the ball down the field without making a mistake. It's really difficult to do that. You put a lot of pressure on your offense when you go 10 to 15 plays to get points. But a guy like Jalen Waddle is one of those players where no matter where he's out on the field, you get the football in his hands, he's got a chance to go the distance because he's got great speed. And you need playmakers like that. So big props to George Payton and Sean Payton for being able to make that happen. Now, the NCAA tournament's going to kick off on Thursday, and we have the usual suspects who are your number 1 seeds, which include Duke, of course, and Florida, of course. But I think this tournament is wide open, and that's really the way it's been described to me, is it's wide open. We're probably going to see a number of upsets, and that's what makes March Madness a lot of fun. So the tournament's going to kick off on Thursday. I'm going to be live starting at 3 o'clock down at Spirit Mountain Casino, set up right inside of the BetMGM Sportsbook. It is your place to bet on college sports, and I'm telling you, if you're not making a trip to Vegas, which would be the prime option, the next best option is to save a few dollars and get your tail on down to Spirit Mountain Casino. The Sportsbook is dope. Here's what you do, guys, and you know the routine. March Madness is known for guys developing weird illnesses early in the week, right before the tournament begins on Thursday, or guys that plan accordingly and schedule their vasectomies right around the time that the tournament's going to start so they can sit at home with a bag of frozen vegetables on their package and watch basketball nonstop. And it's one of those times where you might get a little bit, the benefit of the doubt from your wife, where she knows that you're hurting a tad, so you get a chance to sit, cool the midsection and watch basketball. So if you're not doing that or you're not in Vegas, then come on down to Spirit Mountain Casino. The BetMGM Sportsbook is nice because they got the big cushy chairs. It's wide open seating, and they've got 18 LED screens. And I think the big screen, it's like 165 inches. So you get a chance to sit back and watch nothing but basketball all day long. And if you want to get in on the action, they've got everything. Parlays, teasers, totals, side bets, in-game betting. props, whatever you want, they've got. So come down and join me and hang out and get ready to watch some college hoop as we get ready for the big tournament. So that's kind of what the setup is. Now, the Trailblazers last night, it wasn't perfect, but they sent a message and did what they were supposed to do by pounding a bad basketball team into submission. Denny Avdia had a good all-around game, 18 points, 6 boards, 5 assists. Tamani Kamara, 7 of 9 shooting. He had 18 points. Donovan Clingan had a double-double at halftime. And what I like about what they did against a very bad team, and after watching Brooklyn, I can attest, they suck. And again, no disrespect to the Brooklyn Nets or anyone in the area, but that's a bad basketball team right now. And half the roster are guys I'd never even heard of. You're supposed to beat up on teams like that, and the Blazers did it. They scored the first 10 points of the game, and in a blink of an eye, they're up by 20. Now, there was a short run, 9 straight by the Nets in the second quarter. And then they had that run after the Blazers went up by 31 where they scored 16 straight into the third, into the fourth. But Drew Holiday came up with a big bucket, and they quickly pushed the lead back to 19, and they win it by 19. And, that's what you need from the Blazers right now. I'm not so worried about what number they finish at in the play-in tournament, whether it's 8, 9, or 10. 9 would be nice because you get a chance to host a playoff game. 8 would be good because you only need one win to get into the postseason as a 7 seed, but it's irrelevant to me. What I want to see from the group right now is just with the continuity, now that guys are back on the floor and they're healthy and they're not scrambling around trying to figure out who's going to be in the lineup, just develop some continuity over the next few weeks so that you put yourself in a position to hopefully be playing your best basketball as you enter into the play-in tournament. That's the most important thing. Now, again, the margins. What have we talked about over the last week? It's all about the Blazers taking care of business in the margins. They're not good enough based on talent to just show up and beat teams. They have to make sure they do things the right way, meaning protect the basketball, offensive rebounding, second chance points, and focused on how they start games, getting off to good starts, unlike we saw last Friday against the Utah Jazz, where they're down by 18 in the first quarter. So handle your business. Now, in the first half, they gave up 0 points off of turnovers. But in that second half, 13 turnovers leading to 19 points. Like, those are the type of things I'm talking about in the margins. They've got to be tighter. Rebounding was okay. They had an edge in second chance points, but the rebounding could have been better yesterday. Part of that because Donovan Clingan, while he got the start and had a double-double at halftime, he dealt with foul trouble throughout the game. So when he's not on the floor, Robert Williams did not play because it was a second of 8 back-to-back, and so you get stuck in that spot where it's like, okay, we're going to go small. And they put Chris Murray out there at the 5 at times. So when you have the smaller lineup, your rebounding is not going to be as strong. And a big credit to Chris Murray. I thought he was the player of the game. He came in the first half. In that second quarter when things got a little squirrely out there, and he had 12 points on 5 of 6 shooting. He made good decisions. He attacked the paint, made some threes, ran the floor well. He's got that nickname Mr. Perfect, and that's just because he puts himself in the right position. He knows what the coaches want. He executes, and they only have to tell him something once. But his play was critical in that second quarter when things got a little bit off, and then in the fourth quarter when they needed to find a way to stop the slide they were on for a few minutes. They got quality play from Chris Murray. So the Blazers far from perfect, but they got the job done. And the same thing applies tomorrow against Indiana. That's a team that's focused on lottery ping pong balls right now. So what do? You go out there, you take advantage of the opportunity, and you pound them into submission. That's really what it comes down to. And then hopefully along the way they'll continue to develop more continuity. I thought Scoot was pretty solid yesterday, shot the ball well once again, so he appears to be coming out of his slump. And then they're just getting quality play from, their veterans and Jeremy Grant and, of course, Drew Holiday. So there you have it. That's what's cracking. So we're going to come back. It's Rip City Remix Day on the Rip City Drive, and we're going to shine a light on the Portland Trailblazers G League team, and I'm excited because our next guest in a few minutes will be the Rip City Remix head coach, Jonah Hurskew, who's going to join the program, and we'll get his take on things and what it's like to be the man in charge making decisions compared to being an assistant when you're offering up suggestions. All right, you can reach out to me on social. You'll find me there at Chad and Rip City. You can log on to our YouTube page. Go to youtube.com/Rip City Radio. And, of course, the telephone number is 360. No, that's my number. 503-248-0620. You can text me, too, 360-281-5473. And the Rip City Radio text line is 88528. Live from Chiles Center today, the Rip City Drive, hanging out with the Rip City Remix on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Test, test, test. Yeah, that's good.
Test.
He sounds good. All right, just so you know, Travis Demers, the voice of your Trailblazers, gave a personal endorsement of our next guest and said, "Oh, you're going to love talking with Coach." Very happy to welcome Jonah Hurskew, head coach of the Rip City Remix, to the Rip City Drive. Now, Coach, I was asking around about you, and the best way you were described as a coach to me is that you're a little bit of everything when it comes to teaching and strategy, but most importantly, you are yourself and very genuine. How would you say that is for an accurate assessment?
You can't believe anything you hear in the media. So that's what I'd say. But I appreciate you guys being here today and talking with you, Chad.
No, it's so great. For those who don't follow this stuff closely, how would you give a quick explanation of what the G League is when you're asked about it?
Yeah, I had the pleasure. My first opportunity in professional basketball was 2012-13 in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Mad Ants.
Yeah, but the RIP to the Mad Ants, now the Noblesville Boom,
yes.
The Indiana Pacers affiliate team. And it was called the NBA Developmental League then, the Development League. And that's what I'd say. It's essentially the JV to the varsity, which is the NBA.
Yes.
The league has changed since I was in it, whatever that was, 13 years ago. There's now two-way contracts, which are essentially like an in-between contract of the Blazers and Rip City. And they can play with both teams. Players can also be assigned from the Blazers to us. Hansen Yang's played a bunch of games with us. Will play with us tonight. And we're very fortunate. We practice in the Blazers practice facility.
Yes.
We play at University of Portland, which is a little north of Moda Center, but very accessible. So myself and my coaching staff is very embedded with the Blazers staff, what they're doing. So it's very much an extension of what the Blazers are doing.
Yes.
And it gives an opportunity for our two-way players and assignment players to get game minutes.
Yes.
And then also there's standard G League contracts. So
yes.
we're trying to help those people improve, get better basketball opportunities, whether that's a two-way contract, a 10-day contract, a better opportunity overseas.
All right, so with the similarities you were talking about, are you running in terms of philosophy and the things that you're trying to teach these players, is it similar to what they're teaching up with the Trailblazers? So if guys do go up, they're getting the same type of principles that they would want the guys on the team to know.
Yeah, and one thing, we don't say up or down. I think that has a negative connotation. We just really look at it as an extension of.
Okay.
And, you see Jason Kent, who's came to us on a local tryout.
Yes.
And earned a two-way contract.
Which is awesome.
Maybe 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, and took a red-eye 2 nights ago, met the team in Brooklyn, scored his first NBA points last night.
I loved it, man. Travis's call on that play was great, too, which was really cool. And I would imagine for you as a coach, how awesome is it to have those experiences where you see what we saw last night, getting his first NBA points, or someone like Sidy Cissoko who gets, a 2-year contract? Like, I would imagine for you, like, you love those moments, right?
Yeah, it's cool. It's fulfilling, obviously, for myself, for our staff, but it's really about the players.
Yeah.
And, Jason Kent, has been working his life for an opportunity like this, and to see him earn that and really fight for it and then get there is awesome.
We're talking with Jonah Hurskew, head coach of the Rip City Remix. How hard is it when you're in the middle of the grind? You talk about the human side with the players and how it's all about them, which is important. But I would imagine sometimes you got to take a moment to stop and realize that, oh, yeah, these are players, these are people. They're not just X's and O's that you put up on a whiteboard, right?
Yeah, it's some of the first advice I got when I got into coaching, and I love the strategy aspect of it.
Yes.
The chess match of it, the adjustments that come with it, but you're not working with X's and O's on a whiteboard.
Right.
And players have feelings, they have emotions, they have outside life going on.
Yes.
They have ambition. So I think with the strategy, which is so vital to what we're doing, players don't care how much you know till they really know how much you care about them.
Yeah.
And I just don't think you can ever learn that lesson enough.
All right, Coach, you have a lot of an experience as an assistant, but I'm wondering what the process is like for you, where as an assistant you're making suggestions maybe to the head coach, but now you're in the position where you've got to make decisions yourself. What is that change like for you as you continue your process of development?
Yeah, growth, making a lot of mistakes, learning from them, evaluating myself, being very critical about myself. I had the chance to head coach 2 summer leagues, 3 summers ago and 2 summers ago, and both of those are 5 games. And right when you kind of feel like you're getting the swing of it, you go back to being an assistant. And you said it, as an assistant, I've worked for a lot of different head coaches, and I've worked on the offensive side, defensive side, player development. I have some experience, but you're often making suggestions and making those decisions and having the final say. Really, everything that goes on, from when we travel to the defensive scheme that night to the substitution patterns, is on me. And I delegate a lot and try to look at the full picture of everything, and the analytics and the video and my corporate knowledge and what my assistants think we should do. But at the end of the day, I'm making those decisions. So that's the word I'd use, growth, which has been awesome. And then learning how to make the decision you made work.
Yes.
And then while also having some adjustments you can go to.
That's so awesome. Now, I remember Chauncey Billups said something really cool at the press conference after Young Hansen was drafted by the team, because people were asking about the language barrier. And Chauncey said, you know what, basketball is a universal language, meaning that when guys are on the floor together as teammates, there's a lot of unspoken things that you just know as a basketball player. So I want to ask you, in your work with Hansen, have you noticed that too, that even with some of the and he's getting better with his English, by the way, but even with the barriers, because you're on the floor together with players, like some of those things are unspoken?
Yeah, a lot of times with our communication, we say there's got to be a visual and a verbal. So when you're pointing, it doesn't matter what language you're pointing in. And when you're giving someone the finger, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what language you're speaking in.
Yes.
But yeah, even my first interactions with him right after the draft, even into summer league, then into the fall workouts, his English has gotten tremendously better.
Yes.
And Chris, his translator's here with him. He does an excellent job, but really he's communicating more and more with his teammates. But yeah, he's such a selfless basketball player that I think, especially for him, his playmaking, like, players want to play with someone like that. So I think that really helps the language barrier.
I wanted to ask you, with your experience, you were the head coach of the Summer League team a couple of times for the Blazers, which is cool, and there's a big developmental aspect to the Summer League, which is nice. But how much did that experience with the Summer League squad help you with what you're doing now?
Yeah, it really helped me notice that I really wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And
because you don't really know the coaching life until you get in it, do you?
Yeah, just as a head coach.
Head coach, yeah.
And there's a lot, I think as an assistant coach, I was very good at X or Y and special situations or working with this player. And I think doing the summer leagues, I kind of knew this, but having the chance to do it, of organizing the staff and managing and interacting and listening to the health and performance staff and communicating with the front office and then the players and messaging the group before the game, halftime, post-game, the next day after a good win or a tough loss. My first game as a head coach of Summer League, we lost on a Jabari Smith half-court shot. When we were up 2, he hit it at the buzzer. So no one will ever lose their first game like that. That's probably the worst way you can do it. But it's Summer League. It's not the NBA playoffs. But really understanding the process that goes into it day in and day out and making it more about that than the outcomes is really important to us here and is important to me. So I think getting that, tickling that itch a little bit during Summer League really made me realize how fun it is and really how much of a responsibility it is being a head coach.
Coach, how would you describe the G League game itself? To me, it feels kind of gritty, which I kind of like, but how would you describe the game on a night-to-night basis as you're, going to different places and playing these your competition?
Yeah, gritty. It's fast. It's a fast-paced game. Similar to Summer League, it's a slightly faster-paced game than the NBA. And then literally, like, the game is 2 hours, where NBA's 2:15 maybe.
Yes.
We shoot 1 free throw for 2 points, or 3 if it's a 3, until the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter and overtime. So there's some things they do to speed it up. And then the last thing I'd say is just the change that happens day in and day out. Like, I go to sleep thinking I'm going to have one group for practice the next day. I wake up, it's a different group. By the time practice starts, it's a different group. So being able to be flexible and nimble, I've really grown those muscles this year, and just adaptable.
That's great. I wanted to ask you because I know you've had a lot of work in this. I think Eric Spolstra, your assistant, Coach Flask. It seems like everyone, when they get involved in coaching, they do a lot of video work, right? Video coordinating, putting things together. What is the connection between video coordinating and then becoming a good coach, or is that just one of the jobs that you have when you first start?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say I'm a good coach yet, but hopefully in the future. And we got Eric Spolstra hanging up in the locker room we use here at University of Portland. So, I think it's a stepping stone for a lot of future coaches. It's a foot in the door.
But you learn a lot from watching the film, don't you?
Yeah, and I was very fortunate. Now there's motion sensor cameras that break down the film for you.
Wow.
So you can download a full game. It takes 2.5 minutes to download, and it's done. So when I first got into the NBA, I had to sit there and the games were 2.5 hours when I got to the league, and you had to break it down, and I would do 2 or 3 games at a time, most nights 4 or 5 games. So I really think, people talk about the 10,000 hours and becoming an expert in something. I got a lot of those 10,000 hours early on in my career just by doing my job and watching and being attentive, and then clipping this clip I liked when a team ran a play I liked, or a player did a move I liked, or a coach called a timeout I liked, and really trying to study those things, not just doing my quote-unquote job at that moment. Where now I think a lot of the video coordinators are on the court more, which is also very important, but maybe not quite watching as much. And the league has changed as well. A lot of the league now is free-flowing and read-based, where when I got to the league, 12, 13, 14 years ago, most coaches, you had the corner offense, you had the triangle offense, you had all these different types of offenses where plays really mattered and the coach you were playing really mattered, where now a lot of it's conceptual. So, the league is always changing, it's always adapting. You got to stay up with the trends, you got to try to be innovative. But I think that video coordinator position is a stepping stone for a lot of people. And you're really in the mud, and you can't take no for an answer.
Yes.
Everyone comes to you for your problems. You can't complain. It's not a 9 to 5. It's really like a 5 to 9.
Yeah.
And you're a problem solver.
Yeah.
And I think that's what coaching is at the end of the day. You're a teacher, but you're a problem solver. And I think as my first experience in pro basketball doing it like that, you understand how you got to put out problems.
I've enjoyed watching one of your players, Javante Cook. He seems like he's got a great energy about him, his positivity, and I would imagine he brings real atmosphere to your practices. What are your thoughts on Javante?
Yeah, JC is awesome. Just a beautiful person. He's got a great smile, lights up the room, very versatile. He's been in the G League for a couple of years. He was in Iowa. He was in OKC. We actually had him at a workout this summer. He played really well and came into camp, in September and earned a two-way spot, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But his versatility, off the ball, can guard the ball, point of attack defense. Off the ball can be a good free safety, generating steals. And then on the ball, offensively can get downhill, can get to the rim, get to the foul line. He's got a smooth jumper as well. So pleasure to coach, pleasure to be around. Teammates love playing with him.
I know that Blazer fans have fallen in love with Caleb Love as well, no pun intended. But what's it like being with him? I'm a guy who's played with a lot of confidence this year.
Yeah, it's awesome. He was closing a lot of games for the Blazers.
Big time.
I remember that game in Golden State watching it.
Yeah.
He's going head to head with like Steph Curry. It's awesome, but
fearless
for sure. Confident young fella. But I love his ability to be coached.
Yeah.
And come at this with an open mind and not worry about what team he's playing with, things like that. And he's really gotten better every game he's played with us, and that's really what we care about, that improvement every day and making the right passes and sticking his nose in there defensively. So still has a lot of room to grow like we all do, but it's been a pleasure to coach.
I've got one more question for you. You were talking about self-evaluation. So how do you evaluate? And do you have other people that help you evaluate your job that you're doing as a coach? Like, how does that process work so that you can continue to improve and get better as you've talked about?
Yeah, I have conversations with Joe Cronin, Mike Schmitz, Danny Connors, who's the Rip City GM, my staff as well. And then I have kind of like a personal board of advisors, a couple Division III coaches, one D1 coach, and then my parents. I get a long text from my beautiful mother after
That's
every
awesome.
game, mostly cursing me out, telling me what I could do better. But no, it's often I'm one of the few people that understands all the constraints and dynamics that go into a decision. But I'm always the first to raise my hand, and I'm very critical on myself. So I really try to make it more about the process and the outcome. There's a lot of luck that comes into this thing. But again, what could I do better? Even when something went well, how can we fine-tune it and make it better? And then really paying it forward. Like all of my assistants this year, are doing something they've never done.
Yeah.
And it's like at least one step kind of up from what they've done. So it's been, tonight's game 46 of 50. So it's been really cool to see their evolution from September to now.
Well, I tell you what, I'm excited for you. I think it's awesome that the Trailblazers and the organization entrusted you with the remix, and you're getting a chance to live out your dream and continue to pursue it. And I just wish you nothing but the best, man. And thanks for being gracious with your time.
Of course. We really appreciate the time. Thanks for having me, Chad.
All right. Coach Herskew with the remix. We'll come back here at Chiles Center. We're going to talk with Devon Pouncey. Big thanks to Jonah Herskew. Remix take on the South Bay Lakers tonight. Tip-off will be at 6 o'clock. All right, big thanks to Cat K of the Remix for setting me up with some great interviews today. Our next guest is a good friend. I love his family, and he's the color analyst for the Remix and also a part of the Trailblazers in-arena entertainment. Devon Pouncey here on the Rip City Drive. My brother, good to see you.
Always glad to be around, man. How you doing?
Oh, so great. It's great to be here and shine a light on what the Remix are doing. Just had a chance to talk with Jonah Hurtsky, but, I love the family-friendly entertainment, and like you're mentioning with the basketball and the G League, like for people that haven't been out that would come out to Chiles to watch a game, like the pace is quick and fun. It's a good brand of basketball.
It definitely is. I mean, pace, it leads to more entertainment. I think games aren't as stagnant. And then there are certain rules that are in place to make the game go at a faster pace, one of them being free throws. You know, you get fouled on a 2-point shot, a 3-point shot, it doesn't matter. You're only shooting one free throw. You make the free throw on a 2-point foul, you're gonna that free throw account for 2. If it's a 3-point shot you get fouled on, that free throw account for 3. You miss the free throw, you get nothing. But that leads to a little bit more of an alarming pace. And then everybody's out there is hungry. They're looking for an opportunity to play in the big leagues eventually. So you're never going to see guys take a night off in the G League.
What are your thoughts on young Hansen and what you've seen from him in the G League?
Man, I think he's promising. Quite frankly, obviously. The NBA is a tough league, and him as a young player and playing up there, he's finding his way. But I think here in the G League, you really get to see all the tools that he has. It's emphasized a little bit more, his versatility. He's allowed to score more. He's expected to score more. He's averaging a double-double, nearly 20-10 guy during his G League tenure. So I think it's really promising because you actually get to see what it is that the front office liked when they drafted him.
Are you seeing that skill set with the passing as well?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Coach Jonah Hurtsky likes to refer to him as the hub because you play through him. Everything kind of goes through him. If you can throw it into him on the post, for guys guarding him one-on-one, he has the size and the ability to score in a one-on-one situation. If guys start to dig or double team, he can pass out of the post. Also, you can give him the ball at the top of the key and let guys move off of the ball. He's really good at finding cutters and guys moving off the ball as well. So easy to play through, definitely a versatile player and definitely a heck of a passer.
We're talking with Devon Pouncey, analyst for the Remix. Overall, because you've had a chance to see all the teams play, how would you describe the talent in the G League?
I mean, it's a lot of talent, a lot of young talent, really great athletes in the G League, and really just a lot of guys that are going to continue to play professionally, whether they get an opportunity to play up in the NBA or they get to play professionally somewhere else across the world. I mean, these dudes are high-level talents, and it's cool. You'll go through your scout, and you'll start reading through these guys' bios and things like that, and you'll see all the records they've broken when they played in the NCAA or they were All-Americans and all of these, like, crazy accolades of guys who played high major Division I basketball or even some guys that may have played D2 ball. That's still pretty rare.
Yeah.
But it's like these dudes are professional basketball players without a doubt, and sometimes they get stigmatized a little bit differently because it's minor leagues, but it's all pros out there.
That's so awesome. The Blazers have had a chance to showcase a few of the guys who are on the Remix. I love seeing these players get an opportunity, but I want to ask about Caleb Love. Now, do you see it real quick with a guy like Caleb as someone where like, okay, he's a different type of player? Because when he came up, I was impressed by the fearlessness in which he played with and was very productive at a time when the Blazers needed him to be productive.
Yeah, I think Caleb Love's an NBA player, flat out. Obviously, in a situation, undrafted, he's a two-way player. The Blazers had a need for him, dealing with a lot of injuries, especially at the point guard position throughout the season.
Yep.
And he stepped up and did what he was supposed to with the opportunity. I think the opportunity that he was presented as a two-way player for majority of the season, a lot of two-ways don't get that type of opportunity because, again, a lot of that had to do with health. Drew in and out, Scoot being out for such a long time, Blake Wesley with the foot injury, and obviously, we're not expecting to see Dame this year at all. And so kudos to him for going out and stepping up and making things hard on the coaches and front office guys to have to make certain decisions regarding him. He took advantage of his opportunity. He's now coming here in the G League doing more of the same. He's definitely a killer when it goes to getting downhill, but I also think it's a good opportunity for him to get better because he has the ball in his hands more and has to be more of a true point guard with the Remix. So his playmaking ability is being amplified a bit more as well outside of just his ability to score.
No question. Pretty cool to see a guy like Sidy Cissoko work his ass off and get a two-year deal, man.
Yeah, man, it's fire. I remember last season when we signed City to the Remix. We signed him on a 2-year deal last year. He came in right away. His first game with the Remix had an instant impact, a really good game. Like, he was a walking highlight in that game. And then, playing up with the Trailblazers, I think he's got an NBA frame.
Yeah, his body. Like, that's the first thing that jumped out of me.
Yeah, like, he's a very physical guy. He's a good athlete.
Strong.
He's down to do the dirty work. And I like that he isn't quiet about it. He'll bark. He'll be an enforcer if he needs to.
He's always yapping.
He's yapping. I like it. I mean, you got to make your presence felt out there, especially when you're playing in the league with just talent all over the place. Like, you have to find ways to make your presence felt, and he's not shy about doing that. And I think that's why he's been able to stick and get this deal that he's gotten this year coming off of a two-way.
So it's 50 games in a schedule. How much of a grind is the G League schedule on the players?
It's a grind. I mean, it's definitely a grind. It's probably not as glamorous of opportunities in terms of, traveling, places that they stay at, things that are like. It's definitely a grind for guys that are two-way players because they're fluctuating back and forth. They'll be, with the G League team one day, and they might have to fly out right after the game and go to across the country to go be, with the big league team. I've seen instances where the Blazers and the G League and the Remix have played on the same night, and we've had two-way guys play the first half of a Remix game and then have to leave Chiles and head over to Moda Center to be available for the Trailblazers on the same evening. So it's quite a grind, and again, everybody is hungry. So there is no nights off that you can take in the G League because guys are coming for your head every single night out on the floor trying to showcase what they can do to get a better opportunity.
That's great. We're talking with Devon Pouncey. Now, one of your other roles, and I think this is awesome, you're doing in-arena hosting for the Portland Trailblazers now. And I see you at the games all the time. And, Todd Bosma had a heavy load, and so now you're able to come in and handle some of those duties. Now, for me, being on radio, like I still get nervous right before the show starts, but when I'm talking in a room like this or in the studio, it's not that bad because you don't have people looking at you, but I still force myself to do public speaking engagements because when you have eyeballs on you, it's a different ballgame.
For sure.
How nervous were you the first time you walked out there and you've got that mic and everyone in the arena is listening to you? Was that bizarre or what?
Oh, man, I got some crazy stories from my first couple of times out. The very first time I was actually up in like the 200 level, coming from the top of the bleachers, having to walk down.
I was there.
So that was nerve-wracking for sure, having to do that. I mean, I got through it. I powered through it. It was interesting because I came in trying to write out what it was exactly I was going to say. Then you realize when you're live that just goes out the window.
That's not happening.
And you just got to go off the cuff. And so I'll never forget, I'm coming down the steps. I get it done. I immediately go out and go straight to the bathroom, and I'm just breaking out sweats, just nervous sweats. I'm drenched in sweat, wiping myself down because, I got through it. It was totally different. And then the second time that I did it, it was on Remix night. Very funny story. I'm on the floor.
Yeah.
This is my first time doing a courtside activation. And all right, we're doing the McDonald's tic-tac-toe. And so I go, I talk through the rules, everything. I say, on your mark, get set, go. The contest gets started. And I hear about 5 feet away from me near the Blazers bench, somebody just yell out, pounce, like super loud. I thought something happened, emergency wise. And I look over, and of all people, it's Dame over there. And he's like, what are you doing down here? Because he and I, we have a pretty good relationship. And so I stop in my tracks, and, the guy who's on the floor with me is like, you got to keep going. You have to talk through the contest of the tic-tac-toe, because I get caught up in a conversation with Dame on my very first courtside activation. So definitely a learning experience, but the more that I've done it, the more comfortable I've gotten. And now I feel pretty good about the work that I'm doing. Grateful to be working with Todd. Todd's a legend.
He's awesome.
Mark Mason's a legend. And so to be able to work with those two guys and learn from those two guys and just be thrown in the fire and have to try to perform to at least near a level that those two perform at, I love the pressure and I love the opportunity to be able to do it.
That's awesome. And the difference is, and I experience this too when I've got the open mic and I'm in an arena or some type of event center. It's different when you got like right now we have headsets on where we're hearing what we say in our ears through headphones. But when you're out in the arena, you're hearing your voice coming down from the top.
For sure.
And when you first, it's unsettling until you get used to that rhythm of hearing your voice after you say something.
Yeah, I mean, hearing your voice after you say something, that part of it is weird. And then, like you said, you can feel 15 to 20,000 eyes on you when you're on that microphone, whether they're looking at the Jumbotron or they're looking at you on the floor.
They're seeing you.
You can feel those eyes on you. So I had to really kind of dial in and say, all right, the camera is my audience, because if I start to pay attention and try to dial in on all these thousands of eyes that are on me, I'm going to get off a track from being able to do the job to the best of my ability. So, yes, getting used to hearing your voice in an arena is different, but also getting used to feeling, 15,000 pairs of eyes on you at minimum every time you're out there doing an activation. That's quite a thing to have to get used to.
That's awesome. I love watching you do that. And my hands get clammy thinking about your experiences, because I know what it's like to be nervous in those spots. Now, how have you enjoyed your process of working with Garrett Kwok, your play-by-play announcer, and just the relationship and how that grows over time on air?
Man, it's a beautiful relationship that I have with Gareth. We came in, as the inaugural season broadcasters and have been here ever since, as we're now in the third season here with the Remix. The Remix has a franchise.
Yeah. And,
man, Gareth is just so cool. Like, he's cool as a cucumber. We both can relate to each other. We both grew up in the Bay Area. So, we come up from a pretty similar background.
Which part of the Bay were you in?
I was in Vallejo. And Gareth was more so in the East Bay Area. And so we both grew up, around that Bay Area culture, and he's just a fine young talent, man. He works really hard. I'm a hustler myself. I mean, that's why I broadcast here. I'm doing in-arena hosting amongst
you and your brother
all
both,
over
man.
Over. I'm at Portland State doing games, and that's just the kind of person that I am, and I love it. It's the same thing with Gareth right now. He's doing basketball, but during the basketball off season, he's calling minor league baseball, and so he's a guy that's really hungry and getting after it. And I think as young broadcasters, we both got a similar hustle, and we took a liking to each other right away, and the fun, I think, shows as you listen to us game by game.
All right, who are a couple of the guys to keep an eye on, aside from young Hansen, obviously, but for people who are going to come out and see their first Remix game, like who are some of the guys to keep an eye on right now?
Well, I mean, Caleb Love has been playing more with the Remix as of late, obviously. So, a guy who the Blazers have gotten to like over the season has been playing with the Remix more lately.
And it's cool to be able to see him up close here at Chiles.
Absolutely.
He's a baller.
He's a baller, like I said, and he takes on a bigger role here and is expected to be more of a playmaker along with his scoring. Jason Kent just got a new two-way deal with the Trailblazers, just scored his first basket last night.
Awesome.
In the Blazers game.
So, Travis's call on that was good, too.
Yeah, I love seeing stuff like that, man. Like, he played with us the day before that.
That's literally like a dream come true, right?
For sure. I mean, and it was so cool. I don't know if his parents were able to make it to New York, but his parents had come here Sunday to watch him play. I got to meet his parents here at Sunday's game.
How happy were they?
They were very happy, man. They're so proud of him, and just to be able, he got it out the mud. I mean, he was a guy who was a G League tryout guy.
Yeah.
He just showed up to tryouts, got a spot on the Remix, and now has earned his way to a two-way deal. So
amazing.
Great story. So he's somebody to watch out for, obviously. Chris Youngblood, another two-way who we just
What's your
signed.
take on Youngblood?
I like him a lot. Very physical guard. He can score on multiple levels, but, I mean, super strong. You look at his frame, he's kind of got a stocky-ish frame, but he's tough. He gets to the rack. He likes to bump out there. Those are the kind of guys that I like. They like to play the game physically, but he averages better than 20 points a game here at the G League level as well. So he puts up numbers, and in his debut game, he came in right away and made an instant impact with the Remix.
All right, you told me about Dame and your relationship with him. He was on the show last week, and he shared a story I did not know. Maybe he's told you this, but Paul Allen let him cut his first Dame album at his crib in his own studio.
That's fire. I think I heard the story before. I didn't hear it from Dame in particular, but
because Paul's like, "Hey, come check this out," and he showed him his studio, and he had, as Dame said, he had a couple of cool ass guitars in there because Paul was musically inclined.
For sure.
And he goes, "Anytime you need to use it, let me know." And Dame's like, "Well, I'm getting ready to cut my first album." And so he reached out to him. Paul's like, no problem. They made arrangements, and he did his first album there in Paul's studio. How sweet is that?
Man, that's fire. It's real cool, man. I mean, Dame, and that's how me and Dame even got close. We didn't really get close on the basketball
music,
side.
Right?
I DJ, locally around here as well quite a bit. And so Dame does a lot for the music community out here and took a liking to some of my DJ skills, and I've gotten some pretty cool opportunities alongside him.
I've asked Dame about this, but this is what your brother told me, David, and I think this is cool that Dame, what he does when he drops a new album, he has people that he respects, like you,
Yeah.
to come over and have a listening party because he wants real
For sure.
take on the music. He doesn't want the BS. He wants people to give him the real take, right?
Yeah, I mean,
what's that like to when you're doing the listening party?
I mean, it's cool. I mean, he's just a real, genuine, authentic dude for all that he's accomplished, and who he is as a person. He's so down to earth. It would kind of catch you off guard if you didn't, get the opportunity to experience him, the way that many of us in Portland have gotten to that. A lot of superstars in NBA cities, you just don't get that same reception from a guy as big time as he is. But he's just a real one through and through. I mean, he got it out the mud, came from, a mid-major Weber State. He wasn't a guy who was a McDonald's All-American coming out of high school, and he just stayed true to who he is, even amongst the success. And I think it carries over in terms of, he wants real people to come listen to what it is that he's doing from an artist standpoint, and he'll receive feedback, he accepts feedback, and he keeps going after it and getting better just like he does on the basketball court. It's cool.
Not a surprise. So I tell you a funny story. So I was out at Heron. This is right after Dame, not too long after he'd been bought out by the Bucks. And I was out there at Heron getting ready to, go out and play around a golf, and his cousin Chris was out there, and there was a discussion going on in the clubhouse about what Dame was going to do next. And I thought, well, he'll probably just sit back for a moment and see the landscape and what develops, before he makes his next move. And then Chris is like, I think he's going to wind up with the Trailblazers. And he said it with a smile, so I thought he was BSing, right? I'm like, I would love to see it, but I just can't see that happening right now. And I think as he was trying to tell me, like, no, I think he's going to be with the Trailblazers.
Yeah.
And I thought he was joking. And then, like, a couple of days later, like, boom, the news.
Yeah, no, man.
That's awesome.
It was real cool, man.
He was genuinely excited, wasn't he?
Oh man, he was pumped. I mean, and you can tell, how excited that he's been since being back. Like I said, he gives so much to the scene here in Portland, but not a better situation for us as Portlanders and him as a basketball player being back here where he truly wants to be.
All right, Devon Pouncey, television analyst for the Rip City Remix here on the Rip City Drive, also in arena entertainment with the Trailblazers. You're the man, dude. Thanks for coming by.
Man, I appreciate you having me.
And what do you think
Always
about the game tonight with South Bay? Should be a good one, right?
Should be a good one, man. It was a good one a couple days ago on Sunday. They're a tough team, man. They're on a 12-game win streak right now, so they're the hottest team in the G League. But we're on a race here to get into the postseason for the first time ever, so we got to get the job done.
All right, well, keep hustling, keep grinding, man. Good to see you, Devon.
Good to see you as well.
All right, we'll keep things rolling here live from Chiles Center for our Rip City Remix Day on the Rip City Drive. That's awesome. We're live here at Chiles Center inside of the Hall of Fame room, which is pretty awesome. And I used to come down here. My buddy Chris Tenney was a student here, and for years he had tickets, courtside tickets for all the Pilot games. And during halftime, it was great because we'd come back here and they'd have like free snacks and beverages, and then we'd go back and watch the rest of the game. So I came to many Pilot games over the years and hang out here in the Hall of Fame room. Joining us here in a few minutes, Omar Leary, who is the community and group sales manager for the Remix, is going to join the program, and will continue to shine a light on the Remix as they get ready to take on the South Bay Lakers tonight. Tip-off is coming up at 6 o'clock, and the G League runs a tight ship, so the tip-off right at 6:02. You know, it's about a 2-hour basketball game compared to the 2 hours, 15 minutes that Jonah Hersky was explaining with the NBA games. And depending on how some of the NBA games are officiated, sometimes those games can stretch out to 2.5 hours. Tonight we got the World Baseball Classic, 5 o'clock, first pitch on Fox, Venezuela and the United States of America. So it's going to be awesome in the championship, and I've loved it so far. It's been great. The World Baseball Classic, I think, is a big-time smash hit, and I hope to be able to go and check out one of those games sometimes. So we'll see how things shake out. So that's coming up there. And then the Blazers back in action tomorrow. They'll take on the Pacers. That game's going to tip off at 4:30. Blazers game day with Chris Burkhart will start at 2:30. That is tomorrow. So the Blazers, it's important they get that win tomorrow because the road trip gets increasingly more difficult as they continue. On Friday, they're going to be in Minnesota to take on the Timberwolves. And they got a weird, tricky 2 o'clock tip on Sunday against the Denver Nuggets on the road. And, of course, Denver and Minnesota, two of the more difficult matchups, especially on the road for Portland. But just in terms of, styles, Minnesota's a tough matchup with their length and their defense and the pressure they can put on you. Portland's played them tough in 2 out of the 3 games this season, but that's going to be a tough one. And, of course, the Nuggets right now starting to play better basketball. They went through a post All-Star break lull as well. So that's kind of how things have shaken out. So Blazers tomorrow against the Pacers. But I really love what we saw last night. It was kind of everyone chipped in. Everyone who got a chance to play made a contribution. I thought Chris Murray was the player of the game with his play coming off the bench. 12 points of his 14 in the first half when they really needed it in that second quarter. And then for the most part, every time the Nets made a bit of a push, the Blazers had a response. And that's what you should do against a bad team like that is, dominate the game and pound them into submission. Double-double in the first half from Klingon. Good all-around play from Denny Avdia, who, it's nice to see him out there. You can tell that they did a good job of managing the lower back. He's moving really well. He's being aggressive, playing with physicality. And then they're just getting solid play from, Grant and Holiday, who have been really in a good groove over the last few weeks. And like I said, now they can focus on taking care of business of those things in the margins, and then hopefully over the next few weeks get into a spot where they're playing their best basketball before the NBA play-in tournament begins. That's what I'm hoping. The other big news today, the Denver Broncos went out and landed a big-time playmaker, Jalen Waddle. So they send their first-round pick, which is the 30th overall pick in the upcoming draft, a third-round pick, and they're going to do a pick swap in the 4th round, and the Broncos are able to get Jalen Waddle. And love the move because it adds someone that can take the top off of the defense, someone who can, take a 5-yard pass and turn it into a 60-yard gain, and someone that can take pressure off of Bo Nix. But I like that maneuver by the Broncos. They keep most of their roster intact. You add a playmaker, and now in the draft they can look to bring in help at running back and an inside linebacker. But they're in this window right now, and the reason why you see teams in this position get aggressive in the trade market and bring in a guy who's going to make big money over the next few years on contract is because they've got Bo on a rookie deal. And you've got to capitalize now while Bo's on a rookie deal because once you pay the quarterback, it becomes increasingly difficult, as you know, to be able to flesh out your roster and have those type of playmakers. But right now, because of what they've done in the draft and with the internal development, they've got guys on roster they've been able to commit to. They've got veterans they've been able to give contract extensions to. And they can do that now while they still have their quarterback on a rookie deal. But you only have a couple of years left before you start looking at the extension for Bo, assuming that he stays on this current trajectory and then you move on from there. But Jalen Waddle is a big-time player. Also, he and Pat Surtain going back and forth, former teammates at Alabama. I think it's going to be great. And it's nice to see a team in a position to have a chance to make a big move, and they go out and they're able to get that done. You can reach out to me, 503-248-0620. We do have Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday coming up here at 5 o'clock. Your chance to win tickets to an upcoming Trailblazer game, which I think is going to be pretty sweet. We have 2 different games. Let's see if I can find those matchups once again for you. The games, let me see here. Where did it go? I don't have it right in front of me, but I'll find it here in just a second. Here we go. So the games today, we got a pair of tickets for the Nets, who play at Moda Center on the 23rd, and then the Milwaukee Bucks on the 25th. And so we're going to give away 2 pair coming up at 5 o'clock. Your chance to win Trailblazer tickets courtesy of Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday, and we do it each and every Tuesday on the show throughout the course of the entire season. And Sean in Damascus just chimed in. He said Waddle is actually a pretty damn good receiver. I know. And you look at his numbers and his production, just the fall off the last couple of years is easily explainable. And that's because of the injuries at quarterback. Like, Tua, when healthy, very productive. But the problem is he's had the issues with the concussions in and out of the lineup, and the Dolphins have had to throw different players out there. And what happens is once you get the drop-off, if you're at receiver and you got the drop-off at quarterback play, it's going to be an issue. His rookie season was 21, over 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, averaged just under 10 yards per catch. And then the major jump in 22, where he played in all 17 games, 1,300 yards, he had 8 touchdowns, 18.1 average. That's a big play right there. In 23, over 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns, 14.1 per catch. And then you see the drop-off in 24 and 25 because of the injuries at quarterback. But in his career, 16, 17, 14, 15, and 16 games played. So that is good. He's healthy, he's durable, he's got great speed, and he's a big-time playmaker. 26 touchdowns in his career, and now you're going to put him in an offense with a legitimate quarterback, a good offensive line with continuity and playmakers around him. And not only that, but when you add a player like Waddle, what happens is your other players, guys like Cortland Sutton, maybe Marvin Mims, some of your other young receivers, they get better because of that, because Waddle's going to take a lot of the attention, which is going to be nice. All right, we'll keep things rolling here. We're going to come back, and we've got more discussions coming up as we focus in on the Rip City Remix. Omar Leary is going to join us, Community and Group Sales Manager. And tip-off's coming up with the South Bay Lakers at 6 o'clock. Michael Shacker is sitting to my left. We had Mike Parker in the room, but he got bumped for Jonah Hurskew, but we almost got Doc on. But he's right across the way getting ready to call a baseball game. So it was great to see Mike Parker. He's looking good and healthy, and he was asking about G League players, which is pretty interesting. But Mike Parker nearby, which is cool. All right, we'll keep things rolling. Rip City Remix Day here on the Rip City Drive.
That's good to go.
All right, it's Rip City Remix Day on the Rip City Drive, and very happy to be joined now here at Chiles Center with the community and group sales manager. It's Omar Leary here on the Rip City Drive. Omar, man, thanks for your time. It's great to see you.
Absolutely, fellas. Thanks for having me.
So you were telling me that this is you've been with the Trailblazer organization for a while, so this is kind of your second stint. So how are you enjoying your role with the Remix right now?
Yeah, very different role. There is still the community crossover from both roles, but never sold anything in my life. But definitely have the competitive spirit. I have a basketball playing background and kind of can channel a lot of those experiences and things like that into just different leads and just different groups and theme nights that we can do to kind of make this place something that people want to come out to.
Yeah, I would think, for something like this, the basketball and the team is great, but when you come to Chiles Center, like I remember when I was a kid, like the family experiences, right? Like the experiences you're going to take away with your family or with your kids, or the time you get a chance to spend with your family in an affordable situation, I think is great. So what are when you're trying to sell the Remix and what you guys are offering to the community, what's your process in that, and what do you explain? How do you explain it to them?
Yeah, so I say that we're the community option.
Yeah.
You nailed it in the question. That we are very affordable, free parking, kid zone, things like that we identified early on of how we want to be different. We are ultimately under the Trailblazer umbrella, but we looked at different things that we can do, as connectors to get people to come out. Oftentimes, Trailblazer games are like really fun to go to, and if you're not having a parking pass or things like that, if it's not the most convenient situation, at times, coming to a Rip City Remix game, I think can also give you that additional option of one, affordable basketball, professional basketball play, but also you walk away with so much more. And you do that at the Trailblazer games also. We just try to do it in a smaller fashion but have the same impact.
How much do the people enjoy that come to the games, the close proximity and the access to the players?
Yeah, they enjoy it a lot. We do different things to try to stand out and get people to come back, and one thing that has caught fire for us is post-game photos with the Remix players, and there's always a line wrapped around the corner to get photos with those players and just connecting. They often will share a few words as they're going up to pose for the photo, and they're just super accessible and they're responsive, and they, whether win, lose, or draw, they always put on a smile and they're always here for the community, and they're not from here, so that says a lot about just getting quality human beings on our roster that can help sell this brand and can help spread the love that we're trying to make everyone experience when they come to a Remix game, because they may or may not be on the roster, in the following year. So we always take them putting their professionalism first and making sure that the fans feel appreciated and seen.
All right, so what are some of the different type of group nights that you have?
Yeah, so we've had different group nights. Any group is welcome to our games, obviously, and we want to, get everyone to experience them. But different themes that we've had this year is we did a school day game that a bunch of teams did around the league, but we were really trying to test it out and get a proof of concept for ourselves, and it was, I think to this day, they're our top 2 or number 1 selling game.
To bring the kids out?
To bring the kids out. It was a
awesome
game at 10 a.m., I believe, and so they had to –
a field trip
game. That's what we called it, and I think they had a blast with it, caught some media attention, and just, as I said, a proof of concept and just something to build on.
Did you come up with that idea?
No, it was definitely, like I said, we oftentimes have conversations with different teams in different markets, and not every team is apples to apples.
Yeah.
But we try to reach out to different teams that are made up similar to the way we are and just find out what works for them in their market, which doesn't always land. But we said, hey, a lot of teams are having success with this type of theme night, and we wanted to take a crack at it, and we had some success, and we're excited about building on that for next year.
But I would imagine for group nights too, the field trip day is amazing. Like that's a phenomenal idea. But for companies or businesses that are looking to have some team building or get a chance to get away to spend time together, those type of group nights can be productive too for people that want to get away from the office to spend time together as a group.
You nailed it. I think off the court bonding obviously affects performance. In my opinion, that's just the player in me talking, but I think that's transferable across different professions. And you're absolutely right. We are that affordable option for any group. If you're just a basketball lover, if you are work for an organization where you guys want to get out of the workspace and come and just bring your families and connect in that way, we are definitely the right option for that. And we've had nothing but we sent a survey out for all groups that come out to our games, and we've had nothing but positivity. Obviously, you're not going to go 100 for 100, but I mean everything for the most part has been nothing but positive, and just things that we want to build on and continue to lean into.
That's great. You mentioned the kid zone. So when parents are here with their kids, like, and they're walking around, because, a lot of kids don't want to sit the whole time and watch a game. So what are some of the activities they can get involved in?
Yeah, no, you're right. So our Kid Zone gives the parents an option to allow their kids to have that energy release during halftime or during the game, where we'll have sign making, we have inflatables or some Pop-A-Shot. There's giant Jenga blocks up there where they can, just let their creativity take over.
I love the giant Jenga blocks.
It's been, you never know what's going to be a hit, but those blocks are always being occupied. There's always some sort of troubleshooting of, hey, wait your turn, or, kids try to build something and then guard it as if other kids can't come and play with the blocks afterwards. So it's been a hit. We have cornhole up there. But just say there are times based on the theme. This past weekend we had our Capes and Crowns, theme where it was a weekend game and 3 o'clock start time. Parents could bring the kids out. Great option. We had some folks dressed up as different superheroes and things like that, and had some face painters up there. So there's different ways that we can spoof it up based on the theme. But yeah, we really try to lean in on the demographic that we've seen come through the doors in the first 2 years, which has been families with small children, North Portland natives, and then also just those crazy basketball goers who are seeking any sort of professional basketball. So we're definitely trying to grow and expand outside of that and reach every part of Southwest Washington and all of Oregon. But yeah, slowly but surely we're getting out there and becoming a household name.
What's the process? So if I have a group that I want to have a remix night with, how do they contact you? Can they go to the website? Do they call the number? What's the best way to put that together?
Yeah, on our website, we'll have all of our contacts listed, and you would just reach out to anyone on the Remix ticket team, and they would service you right away. We're always on the phones, always seeking to find different ways to pull different groups into our building. And, a lot of times they don't identify with our players on our roster as some NBA followers do, but that's why we try to create the experience around also the good basketball that's also being played on the floor, to where they walk out saying it was so much more, and we definitely want to come back.
And when you talk to people, families or individuals who are coming to games, what do they care about the most? What are they looking for aside from just the game itself? What type of experience do they want?
Yeah, I think anyone that has a family and small children and things like that, I think they look at affordability. I think they look at access and how smooth the process was, and just with free parking, affordable concessions, and the kid zone and things of that nature, and just always willing. Our staff is small but mighty. Anything that comes to us, we're trying to accommodate. And so I just feel that people can walk away feeling a sense of community, as we started with, but also hopefully they can take a sense of pride with it, knowing that it is part of the overall Trailblazer brand, and get some of that pride in Rip City with the Rip City Remix. Because win, lose, or draw, you can see that our Portland Trailblazer followers really love the Blazers. And anytime we're in the playoff hunt or anytime we're playing for something, the city really shows out. And so to get that unwavering support, I'm sure, is huge. And so we're trying to become a household name and just continue to be get the support from the community as well.
All right, one thing that's really cool, you and I share an Oklahoma connection. I was born in Tulsa, and I grew up in Manford, just outside of Tulsa. My dad worked in the Williams Center, which is now the BOK building, and most of my family's there. And I grew up a Sooner fan because when I was a kid, Barry Switzer was the head football coach.
That's right.
And I remember my Nana telling me, she's like, Chad, okay, Jesus is here. And then, Barry Switzer's here, right? He was big time, yeah.
It's like that there.
And so, and wherever you go, because it's the only thing in the state, it's either – my dad was an Oklahoma State Cowboy, which was unfortunate, but that's what they're talking about is Sooner. And you had a chance to play basketball at Oklahoma, and you were on the Blake Griffin team coached by Jeff Capel. How was your experience in Norman?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you asking. I never turned down a chance to talk about my playing time. It was awesome. It was an experience being from the Pacific Northwest, where I didn't really have any allegiance to the Red River rivalry or Bedlam or things like that. That was down there. But I picked it up quickly and realized that sports is religion down there. And they really, really value their Sooners. Right around the time I got done is when the Thunder was coming in. And so at the time it was second to none. You weren't competing with a professional team or anything like that, but the values and the experiences that I take from that experience I'm still using today, and I wouldn't trade it in for the world, and wish all my teammates nothing but the best.
How cool is it to be an athlete and then get a chance to continue your career working around the game?
Oh, it's great. I think that is the trend, and I think student athletes are going to take what they've learned in the locker room, the adversity, the success, working with others, being coachable. All of these things are very transferable, and I think that if you just kind of look at the natural fundamental skills that athletes usually walk away having. If you can channel it and spark their passion, you rarely find them to get excited about something like they were about their sport in the professional realm. But if you can spark their excitement, I'm sure you're inheriting a hard worker, someone passionate, competitive, and overall just a team player.
All right, Omar Leary, who is the Community and Group Sales Manager. I appreciate you taking time to join the show, man. It's
Absolutely.
nice to catch up with you, and I'm just I love what you guys have going here, and I'm trying to encourage more people to come out to be a part of it.
We appreciate it so much. It was a pleasure.
All right, we're going to keep things rolling here. We'll come back, and we're going to talk to the voice of the remix. Gareth is going to stop by, and we'll get his take on what we're going to see tonight and on the squad. It's Rip City Remix Day on the Rip City Drive here on Rip City Radio 620. All right, what a pleasure this is. Joined now by the voice of the remix, Gareth Kwok, who works with Devon Pouncey, who was on the show. Hey, first time on the Rip City Drive, man. Thanks for your time, buddy. Good to see you.
Yeah, Chad, thanks for having me.
I got to give you props, man. You filled in for Travis Demers, and you had to call a couple of games off a monitor. But you did a great job, and Cap was very complimentary. But, man, I appreciate your work.
Thank you. It was a blast. I mean, when I got the calls, like I thought I was in the dream, right? Just
yes.
Like hearing, I was going to fill in for Travis. But, just really thankful for the Blazers organization. Thankful to Travis and everybody for letting me fill in and definitely make a dream come true for sure.
How are you enjoying your time with the remix as you're getting into a good role and you've got a good partner in Devon, but it sounds like you guys are having fun.
Yeah, it's been a blast. It really has. We really developed chemistry almost instantly from like the first couple of games back in 2023, and we've just been able to carry that on through now Volume 3 as we're wrapping up Volume 3 of the remix. And it's just been fun getting to hear the feedback from, the organization and then feedback from the fans and even, the players and the families of the players too. We love hearing your broadcasts and we love, hear you talking about our son and how they're doing. So
that means a lot to them.
Yes, that definitely warms your heart, and it's like, wow, we're doing something good for those that can't make it out to Portland, during the wintertime. So it definitely is very rewarding.
That's great. How do you enjoy calling the games with the G League? Because the pace is quicker than you're going to get in the NBA or some other spots.
Yes, it is very fast, and they're flying up and down. But you definitely have to be well conditioned. But there's a lot of talent in the G League. I don't think a lot of people realize that, and a lot of guys very deserving of being on NBA rosters. And so it's always a great story when you see somebody kind of toiling in the G League and they're trying to make their name and they get an opportunity, and eventually somebody needs a 10-day contract or they need a two-way and they're able to fill in. So those are, I think, the best stories when you hear about those guys that are eventually able to make their way up.
And what's your take on young Hansen getting a chance to play in the G League and continue to sharpen his skills? What are you seeing from him?
Yeah, I think with him, he's just gotten more and more confident since, the first couple of games in November. His feel for the game, I think, has developed significantly. And the remix really like to utilize him a lot in the offense, especially in the half court. He's almost kind of like a quarterback, just like, hey, we're going to give it to you, and you're able to make the read. Try to make the best read. If the guy's cutting to the basket not there, okay, maybe we'll reset. But, there are times, too, where Young will, hey, I'm just going to try and see if this pass works. Like, try and fit it in, see if it works. And, hey, there's days where he's got 6-7 assists, and then there's days that, hey, maybe he has 4 or 5 turnovers. But that's kind of part of the G League, process and just learning from being in the G League and making those mistakes. It's not as nearly as bad, of course, as if you're making those mistakes up with the parent club. So I think there's a little bit more leeway. He's got some freedom to do that, but I've been very impressed with what he's done, considering how young he is and just what he's been able to do.
But you're definitely seeing, and maybe this is a good reason for people to come out and watch. You get a chance to see Hansen down here. He's showcasing a lot of the things that the Blazers really loved about him when they made the decision to draft him.
Yes, especially the passing. I think just too.
I think they said that who was it? That maybe Cronin or Mike Schmitz maybe said that they believe that passing is one of those skills they think translates well from college or a different league into the NBA.
Yeah, and I think that was definitely evident. I think those first couple of games when he made his home debut, and even with guys that he hadn't really played a whole lot with, of course, the Remix and the Blazers, they shared the same facility, but you're not necessarily getting all that practice time and getting the time needed to build chemistry. So for him to, within a couple of games already, find guys, make a couple no-look passes, and just showcase what we saw, on the tape coming in, I think was definitely encouraging, and he's been able to continue that too.
That's awesome. The other couple of players that jump out, and I heard Joe Cronin mention this, but it's pretty cool when they're able to see someone like Sidi Sissoko work his tail off, and they're able to reward him with a contract.
Yes.
So how have you enjoyed watching his development?
Oh, it's been so fun, and I still remember CD coming into the building, whatever it was, I guess a year ago, when they first signed him to that two-way, and kind of didn't know a whole lot at that point, but I think the first game or so he went like 5 of 5 from the field, like 4 of 4 from three-point range, and so you kind of saw the tools and the athleticism just on display those first couple of games while with the Remix, and the defensive tools and the intensity there has just totally carried over now with the Blazers ever since they needed him. So I think just throughout those first couple of performances, you were able to see, okay, there's something there. That's why they identified him, and that's why they signed him. And now, hey, he's become just a regular rotation player now for the Blazers.
All right, we're talking with Gareth Kwok, who is the voice of the Rip City Remix, and they're getting ready to take on the South Bay Lakers. Tip-off is at 6 o'clock tonight. So for you as a broadcaster, now you do basketball, but you also do baseball. Do you do football? And what other sports do you do, or just those two?
So far, yeah, just basketball and baseball. Did a little bit of like football, even some wrestling back in college. But baseball and basketball are like my two primary sports now.
Where'd you go to college at?
Arizona State.
Oh, you went to ASU?
Arizona State, yes.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. I am a huge Sun Devil fan.
Okay.
And I travel down every year to catch a couple of their football games.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I love their head coach.
Yes.
And so I'm a big supporter of the Sun Devils. So what was it like going to school there?
Oh, man, it was awesome. I mean, just the experience I got, more so from, as a student, but just, as a sports journalism student trying to, make my way up and get opportunities. So
you went to the Cronkite school then?
Went to the Cronkite school, that's right.
Gosh,
yes.
That's awesome.
Sun Devils run deep.
What year did you graduate?
I graduated 2022.
That's awesome.
2022, yep.
Yeah, I just, every time I'm down there, I walk around, it's like, if I would have went to school there, what a beautiful campus.
It's a beautiful campus. I mean, the first couple months, kickoff for those football games is like 99 degrees, 100 degrees. So we're as students in our suits, we're kind of sweating through those suits in a way. But by then, October through like February, March, it's just picturesque. It's perfect.
I still have the picture. Me and my buddy Steve, we go to the games together. I think this is 2018. We're at a Michigan State game. It's a blackout. It's early September. And it's going into the fourth quarter, and they show the temperature up on the scoreboard there at Sun Devil Stadium.
I think I might have been at that game, yeah. As a fan, though.
It was going into the fourth quarter at night. This is a night kickoff.
Yes.
101 degrees.
I believe it. I totally believe it.
I just remember feeling like I could feel the heat radiating off my body from that.
I mean, and I remember, too, I think that was probably like my freshman year. So at that point, we're just going as fans. We're going to enjoy the game. And I think we still stood out there because we wanted to get a good seat. I want to say hours, maybe 2 or 3 hours,
Unreal.
even before gates were to open. So we're just standing there and, we're just, downing as much water as we can to stay hydrated before we, faint. But, yeah, and then just to be able to go there, see an upset, right? And, but I think I prefer covering the game as probably a reporter or as a broadcaster for sure, though.
So what's the process as a play-by-play announcer for baseball? Like how hard is it or how hard was it for you to continue to develop your cadence and then the storytelling and making sure that you get your note-taking, your details down so that you're fully prepared for the way a baseball game plays out, which is different than a basketball game?
Sure. Yeah, it was challenging at first, and just because, it's just the everyday grind of the sport and just being able to do it, I think was maybe the most challenging part, just getting adjusted to it. But I think that's also like one of the best things about baseball too is that, hey, if you maybe, if the team came out flat or if you yourself didn't feel as good, well, hey, you got another game tomorrow to really, improve on those things and also just see what might unfold. I think that was kind of the biggest lessons I learned about doing baseball. And so, growing up having played it and so, watched it. And so I've been able to kind of really broadcast and just enjoy doing that sport for a long time now.
Gosh, that's awesome, Gareth. I'm so happy to know that you're a Sun Devil. That makes me love you even more. Now, my whole objective for being down here is I want to encourage more people to come down and check out the Remix because I love the setup and the accessibility to the players, and it's very family friendly. But if someone were to ask you like to describe the G League or the Remix experience, like how would you put that into words?
Yeah, I mean, I always say, the G League it's NBA level talent at a family friendly, price point and atmosphere, like we talk about, the parking, free parking, the beers are, $9 instead of $15, $16 and, there's really no bad seat in the Chiles Center. So, you're able to get a spot and really see, in this case, your favorite Blazers or, guys that, hey, you might not know if maybe they'll make it and maybe they won't, but hey, it's cool that, hey, I can remember seeing that guy and now he's, with the Mavs or he's with the Rockets. And so I just think it's NBA level talent, but you're getting it at a family friendly price point. We got the kid zone up front. There's just a lot of, activations and things we do to really cater to the families to make it, especially on the day, get them outside and get them, out of the house, I should say, to just enjoy some basketball.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I really love that. And for the players, too, like Devon was talking about, like, there's a lot of talent in the G League, young talent.
Yes.
Guys who can ball.
Yes, a lot of young talent that can ball, and like I said, they're all very deserving, I think, of NBA roster spots. A lot of them, and who do we have the other day? We had Delano Banton, the former Blazer, was in town for a little bit, and we were just watching him play, and we're like, man, he, what's he doing down here? He's just too good.
He's too good.
Too good, and I think he did land a 10-day with the team just recently. But yeah, there's just guys out there that like, what are they doing down here? But also, hey, there's some potential with him, and hopefully he's able to land an opportunity somewhere.
Yeah, it's great. And I think Chiles Center too. Like, I grew up going to Pilot games, and so I just like the venue for basketball because there's not a bad seat in the house.
No, yeah, it's very intimate. You can get courtside seat if you'd like for just $100, or just a bit further behind for even less. So you can just get a great view of the team and a great view of the action at a very friendly price point.
Gareth, what's jumping out at you with the Trailblazers right now? Got a big win in Brooklyn last night. You and I were talking. Denny obviously is my favorite player, but what are some of the things that are jumping out at you with the squad as they head towards the play-in tournament?
Yeah, I think right now that seems to be kind of where they're at, and it's good to see some guys getting healthy, and so the push is real. It's kind of like the Remix are trying to make a push as well. It's funny how those two teams are similar along, but I think there's a lot of potential and a lot of buzz, and if they can take care of business on Wednesday, that'd be good. And then Friday, without Ant in the picture, that'd be quite the win also on the road in Minnesota. So there's definitely opportunities to take care of business and hopefully work your way up the ladder, and maybe even a 9 seed, 8 seed, and only would have to win one of those two would, I think, be ideal.
Now, explain it. Do they I know it's a 50-game season for the Remix, but do they have postseason play in the G League?
They do. So this year, it's very similarly to the NBA, 8 teams per conference. I believe it used to be just 6 teams per conference, but now they expanded it to 8 teams per conference. So right now, the Remix are 8th. Right now, and they're playing the number 1 team in the West in South Bay. So I guess if the postseason were to end, that'd be the 1-8 matchup. But yes, but instead of doing best of 7 series, they do a much more condensed postseason. So just single elimination up until the finals, and then the finals is best of 3.
All right, so South Bay, I think they won 12 straight. So,
yes.
So they're in town tonight.
Yep.
What about South Bay makes them the best team in the G League right now?
They are very balanced. They have a top 3 offense, a top 5 defense. They've gotten a lot of help from assignment players. So Bronny James has been involved with them more so this year, I think, than last year. He's been traveling more with the team, not just playing the home games. So he's been involved. Drew Timme was signed over, in November on a two-way.
He's been productive too.
Very productive, yeah. He's even filled in, I think, a couple times for JJ Redick. So, he's been used quite a bit, and they just have a lot of depth and guys that are young, but maybe not necessarily going to crack the Lakers rotation. And instead of having them just sit there and do nothing and not get a lot of reps, hey, send them down to South Bay and help out the G League team, and they can get a lot of minutes, a lot of shots up, and so I think that's kind of helped fuel this run. And but even without those guys, they're just still incredibly deep.
All right, so you grew up in the Bay Area. Now I want to ask, so and it's a great sports town down there. So were you A's fan, Giants fan, 49ers fan, Raiders fan? Everyone's a Warriors fan. Like, who were your teams growing up?
Yeah, Giants and 49ers were like my 2 teams growing up, and gained a lot of my broadcasting influences from the Giants and from the Niners as well. So definitely gathered those 2.
Greg Papa is one of the best humans and coolest guys I've ever worked with in the business. So smart, but yet so giving of his time. Like he was big time, but he would just act like he was one of the fellas. I always appreciated that about him.
Yes, definitely, and we're wishing him the best. I know he's reeling right now and recovering, but hopefully that he can get back on the air soon. I think that's what everybody in the Bay Area wants to see.
And I think I read where he's got a donor for bone marrow. So I think that there's some good hope for Greg Papa moving forward, which is great.
That's fabulous.
But it was awesome because when I moved down there, the Giants were right in the middle of they were making their run for their 3rd championship. And a couple of weeks after I got down there, I'm in the locker room watching Mad Bum, shotgun beers because they had just taken out St. Louis. And I was like, so Mad Bum is one of those guys who, ever since that experience of being around him, I have a man crush on Mad Bum. He's like one of the coolest postseason performers I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, I mean, just forever in history, right? Just with that performance and an inhuman like performance from that 2014 World Series. Like his arm was just bionic.
Bionic. And then Shacker and I are both. He's a big Giant fan, but
Mm-hmm.
like John Miller to me, you probably love him too. I would guess
Yep.
growing up.
Yep.
One of the greatest all-time voices I've ever heard in my life. I think he's sensational. Was he a big impact
Yes,
on you when you were growing up?
Definitely, yeah. Him, Dwayne Kuiper, Mike Rucco, Dave Fleming, all those guys. Yeah, I mean, just his ability to paint the picture but his voice is just like so soothing. It doesn't even sound like a real voice.
He could read the phone book to me. I'd be like, this is fine.
He could read the newspaper, I mean, and I'd be just enthralled, right? I mean that. All four of those guys, they're iconic in the Bay Area, and definitely were inspirations for me and wanting to get into this business and being able to be where I am now.
All right. I appreciate your time. Thanks for shedding some light on the remix, man.
Yes, thanks, Chad, for having me on. And, we got 2 more home games coming up on Friday and Saturday. So hopefully those that are around while the Blazers are out of town can come support the remix one more time before we wrap things up in Volume 3.
All right, that sounds great. All right, Gareth Kwok, who is the voice of the remix. We talked to his partner, Devon Pouncey. You guys sound great together, man. I'm so happy you guys get to work together, so it's awesome.
Appreciate it, Chad.
I appreciate it. There's Gareth. We'll keep things rolling here. Rib City Remix Day on the Rib City Drive. We're live from Chiles Center. Tip-off with the South Bay Lakers coming up at 6 o'clock.
Unfortunately, didn't overlap with him. I think I just graduated before he got there, but I mean.
That was cool he stopped by. See, he redeemed himself. I thought he was going to big time me. He's great. All right, having a lot of fun today, getting a chance to talk to all these different people involved with the Rip City Remix. Charles Klask, who is one of the assistants, he's got a long career as an assistant in the NBA, and he's working with the Remix now. We'll talk with him in a few minutes. I really enjoyed my conversation with Gareth Kwok, who is a Sun Devil, and I am a closet Sun Devil fan. Spent a lot of money going down there to watch some of their different games, their football games over the years, but love Kenny Dillingham. I think that's my favorite thing to do. Me and my boy Steve doing our road trips down to Zona. Zona road trips. The Denver Broncos play in Arizona this year. I can't wait to see what the date is because my dream scenario is a Saturday-Sunday ASU Sun Devil football game, followed by the next day get a Bronco-Cardinal football game, which would be nice. But just hanging out with the Remix, and that's what I would encourage. If you want to see some quality hoop, but you don't want to pay big-time dollars, because let's face it, going to sporting events now, especially on the pro level, can be a little bit spendy, just a scotch. So the Remix provide affordable family entertainment, which is a great setup. And if you're watching hoop, and especially if you want some close proximity to some of the ballers, the Remix is the way to do it here at Chiles Center. So, and tonight, South Bay Lakers tip-off is coming up at 6, and they don't jack around the G League, man. 6:02 tip-off, and then boom, the game is off and running. Other than that, just chilling. Blazers going to be back in action tomorrow. No Rip City Drive tomorrow because we'll have Blazers Game Day, which will start at 2:30 with Chris Burkhart. And if I'm slurring my words, I apologize. I've got, like, the mother of all canker sores, and I've got Oragel that I'm just jamming into my pie hole in large quantities. And it's making my lip numb, but it's stopping the radiating pain from the canker sore. And I grew up having canker sores all the time. For some reason, whenever I bite my lip and it causes any type of cut, I guarantee to get a canker sore. The issue is this one's like right in front of the mouth. And so like coffee consumption has been very difficult the last couple of days because I have to numb up my mouth with the Oragel and then hammer down my coffee. And so like right now my lips are tingling because I just put in a bunch of oral gel. I hate stuff like that though. So there you go. And then I was talking to my mom, and she's like, yeah, your dad, he stumbled in the yard again. I'm going to go ahead and get him tested for ALS. You ever talk to your parents and, like, they start saying things that are just, like, a little bit over the top and crazy? Like, I don't want to think about Dad being sick, Mom, but whatever you're saying is yeah, he stumbled in the yard. It's wet out there. Oh, my gosh. It's like stuff like that just drives me crazy. So there you have it. Oh, by the way, I was going to give you an update on the sneak-out situation with my daughter. A couple of weeks ago, got caught sneaking out and then went through great lengths to try and cover it up with her friend. But they got busted, and they used a burner app to send a message to the friend's dad, but pretended to be me. That's a problem. Well, anyways, the discipline was handed down, but I got home last night, and my lamp was on inside of my room. I got a desk in there, and on the desk was a handwritten note. And not a note, but it was like back when I was in school, I'd have to write papers. Like it was like a single line front and back. And it was a long note from my daughter. And I read the note, and the first thought that went through my mind is like, did someone put her up to this? And so I went and investigated that idea and found out that she did it on her own without prompting. And I think she understood why I was frustrated. It's not about the sneaking out. Like, no, do I want my daughter sneaking out in the middle of the night and being driven around town by some 17-year-old boy that did not have permission? No, I don't want that. Of course not. I still can't believe, what's that guy's name? What's the kid's name? Cohen. I'm going to hate that name for the rest of my life. Hey, Cohen, you did not have permission to pick up my daughter in the middle of the night and drive her around town. To take her from Ridgefield to Camas. You did not have my permission, but you felt it was okay to do that? So anyways, a little frustrated about that. But again, I understand that too because I was 17 once too. And if I had two girls when I was 17 that were encouraging me to come and get them in the middle of the night in Ridgefield, I probably could have been talked into it. So I can't be too mad at the kid, but it's still like part of me wants to see him disappear. You know what I'm saying? Like as a dad, but there you go. So anyways, I got the note, and we had a long conversation about honesty. It's like, honey, it's not the sneaking out part that bothers me. Like, not that I want that, but it's like, that's not the bad part. The deception is where I step in with the problem. So we had a great conversation after the letter, and it was very good. And so it's like, that it's like they do something dumb, you deliver the discipline, and then there's the fracture, and there's some separation, but then they come back to you, and like that's a pretty good experience. Because, dude, I have no idea. I know I see some parents. I have friends, and I know people who are parents, and they just appear to be like on top of things, and I admire them. Like I know some people where I'm like, dude, you got this thing figured out. I don't have anything figured out. I have no idea what I'm doing. Day to day, it's like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? I have no idea how to handle this situation. So walking through that for the first time was wild. So there you have it. So the boy named Cohen, got the daughter, you got the deception, then I got the handwritten note, and it's all good. So, but, that's the process. But an experience for me because I'd never been through something, of that nature. How you doing? Come on. We got him in the house now. Coach Klask is joining us. Drop those on, my friend.
Appreciate it.
It's so good to see you. Welcome to the show. I'm Chad.
Thank you. Chad, nice to meet
Coach
you.
Klask, Charles Klask, who's on the Rip City Drive. Okay, so this is what I love about you. I love everyone's story. And I remember I was talking with Joe Cronin maybe before the season, and I did not know his full story in terms of details. So he started with the Trailblazers as an intern, and he had one simple mission. He just wanted to be in the game, and so he thought, you know what? I'm going to do whatever I can to get the experience. And so he was willing to run up credit card debt and just live and expenses and everything, and it paid off. And then I found out about you. You had the same process where you graduate from Michigan State. You're like, I want to devote everything I have to basketball. And so you were willing to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And it paid off.
Yeah. You just always have faith and hope and belief, that the hard work and everything is going to pay off in one way or another. You don't always know until you're on the other side of it, but you just have to have that belief.
All right, tell me about the coaching clinic. I think it was in Wolverine, Michigan, put on by maybe Don Meyer.
Don Meyer.
It had a massive impact on you. What happened there?
Yeah, just as you're growing up, I think you have ideas of how you see yourself, or what you can become, and your role models, and what you want to do with the rest of your life. So it was a really introspective moment. And I was one of those kids, like even as a 17-year-old, I was going to clinics and camps. And like back then it was a little bit different. It was usually all older coaches. And then so I got invited to go to Wolverine, Michigan, and Don Meyer was having a camp with Garth Pleasant. And like I didn't know a lot about like the Division III levels and some of the smaller schools. It was always Michigan, Michigan State, UNC, Duke, all those schools. So I go to this overnight weekend camp, and these guys could have been my dad, to be honest, but I just fell in love with everything, the camaraderie, the spirit, the jabbing on one another. It just felt like a locker room of the future of what I would be as a coach, not as a player. And I just knew right away, I was like, this is what I want to do the rest of my life. So I was very blessed that God gave me that moment, and I chose that route and just fully devoted myself to it ever since.
Okay, so that's really cool. So you go from that moment into now working, like let's say here with the remix. It's got to be rewarding for a couple of different reasons. One, you get a chance to work with these young men to become better players on the floor, but also maybe set an example of how to be good men off the floor too, right? And now you're getting a chance to live that out.
Yeah, no, that's I think that's a part of the whole process. You're not just teaching basketball. You're trying to teach life skills, team dynamics, how to work with other people, the importance of like showing up on time and just being respectful and polite to everybody you meet. So there's a lot of that involved with it, and you spend so much time with these guys, getting to know them as people and what makes them tick, and meeting them where they're at, and seeing where they want to go, and help them follow the path and create the path for them to take the next step, whatever that is. And then it's been really fun to be around so many young coaches, bright minds like Jonah, Nish, Lex, and T-Rob, and just get a new flavor, a new energy from them. It's kind of like a feel of a startup, I'd like to say, like, hey, we're all in this, we're all learning together. And then with my experience, I'm able to give back lessons that I've learned over the years, not just to the players, but to the staff. So it's been a really, really cool experience. I really enjoyed it.
We're talking with Coach Klask here with the Rip City Remix. You've had the opportunity to work with some great coaches, Rick Carlisle, Stan Van Gundy, Brian Hill, Doc, Johnny Davis, who is well-loved in Rip City, Mike Malone, Lawrence Frank, just to name a few. But I'm trying to wonder, like, just the basic role of an assistant, is it just to do whatever you can to take some of the load off the head coach and make their life easier? Like, what's your thought process as an assistant when you're working with these guys?
Yeah, the more of the remedial tasks that you can take off the head coach's plate where he can focus on the big rocks and really just dial in with what it takes to win and drive the group and connect with the players. So you make their life as easy as possible. And that could be from anything from picking up their dry cleaning to staying after to rebound for a guy, whatever it is. And what I always envisioned when I was an assistant coach, I said, if I was the head coach, what kind of assistant would I want working for me? Live and die in the trenches, work to the 24th hour, whatever it took. No job was too big. Just live in the gym. Whatever is needed. No task is too small. So, and then as you rise up through the ranks of like lower level assistants to higher level assistants, then you have to delegate in some of that stuff as well, and it kind of trickles down. But you always keep the players first. That was one of Stan's big thing. Players always come first. I know you could work on an edit or a scouting report, but the players' time is the most valuable of anybody's in this entire building. And if you aren't willing to drop everything and work with that player in that moment, they'll find somebody who will. So that was kind of like my ethos going into every day at work. And then a lot of times, especially when you go on the road and you go to these other gyms and you're like at the Garden or Madison Square Garden or Boston, TD Garden or whatever, the Palace, Little Caesars, it's really refreshing and humbling, and it's easy to be grateful in those moments because you're in the NBA.
Yeah.
The best players, the best coaches, the best refs, everything is very elite. And to be in that group is very intoxicating.
Now, with all these great coaches, so as you're continuing to develop as a coach, do you are there different ideas or concepts that you're able to learn from each guy that you take along with you? How does that work?
Yeah, they all have similar traits, and then they all have like specialties that you want to really try to like pick up on and say, okay, why is this guy so detailed, organized? How does he do his rotation chart? How does he do his game card? How is he sequencing plays and scripting offense throughout the entire game and special situations? And then other players have other coaches have other skills where maybe they're great motivationally or with player relationships. So you're trying to just like pick the best of each one of them and then put it into a big like stew or cocktail and be the best of all those guys or girls, whoever you work for.
Yeah.
And then there's the trend lines with all those guys. They're all extremely hardworking. They're all visionaries. They have values and they lay out their vision and they hold everybody accountable. And they're excellent teachers. From Coach Malone to Doc to Rick to Stan Van Gundy, all those guys, they have an elite degree in the methodology of teaching. So I've always enjoyed that part of it because it's just like a classroom. We're just competing against 5 other students to try to get the A+.
How helpful has it been? I thought it was great that the Trailblazers organization invested in having a G League team here in town. You guys get to practice at the facility, which is great, but how helpful is that for the team to be able to have a G League squad here that can work closely with the guys here and have everyone on the same page?
Yeah, I think a lot in life with anything is proximity. The closer they are, the easier it is to be connected and have synergy between the staffs, where if I just see you at the water cooler, we can talk about the last remix game or how the Blazers are doing in Indiana, whatever it is. When is a guy getting assigned or called up or who's moving in the league? And just I think when you're away, in Denver, our team was in Grand Rapids, and it was just the disconnect was so vast. It was easy to like unplug and not know and not worry because you never saw those guys.
Yeah, good point.
And with us, if the team's on the road, you're bumping into Joe or AP or the strength coaches or some trainers or sports psychologists, whoever it is. So it's just that family feel. And when you ask our players, they'll all say, this is a great setup. We're in the same building. You have a locker room, same resources, whether it's a hot tub, cold tub, sauna, steam room, food, catered. So I think they really feel like they're taken care of, and that's part of our job as an organization to make sure the players know that they come first, and we're doing everything we can.
What are the biggest things at this stage of the season? You guys are coming up on the end of the season that you guys are focused on right now as a group, emphasizing.
The roster's always in fluctuation, so hopefully we get the same group of guys here for a nice chunk of the last 5 games of the season, and we really know who we are, fighting for playoff seeding. Right now we're 8th and South Bay's 1st, so this could be a potential first-round matchup, which is really intriguing. And then you just want to find some common trends and patterns that, okay, when Hanson's out there, he plays well with Reese, C-Love, and Chris Youngblood. But then when we go with Liam, he's really good with Cam Parker, and then we get J.K. back and Jalen Martin. So you're just trying to find some connectivity with different groups. You're probably done with any experimenting with like new schemes or zones or anything. You're just honing in on how you're going to play in the playoffs.
Yeah. How long does it take? Maybe it's different depending on the group of that connectivity you're talking about. How long do you need to see a group before you start to notice that type of connectivity?
Well, yeah. What they used to always say in the NBA was it takes 3 months when you have a new staff and new dynamic players.
Yeah.
So it's like a month to implement your staff. The second month is like working out some of the kinks. And then the third month, you're really like a tune machine. And after 3 months, you should know who you have and what you are, your identity. You don't always get that in the G just because, the roster fluctuation, like I said. And it's just different. Like, we have a lot of really smart players who understand the game, so you're able to move a little bit faster on the timeline. Other times you just have to pace it appropriate to what your players are capable of doing and not overloading them where they're overthinking and not just playing to their instincts.
What have you noticed from the beginning up until now with the development of young Hansen?
Hansen's been amazing. He's a pleasure to work with. He cares a lot. His work ethic is off the charts. I mean, shooting 500 shots for him is no big deal, and he wants to shoot them. It's not just like punishment or I have to do it. Like, he'll ask, he'll want to do it.
Yeah.
He's gotten in really, really good shape. I feel like his running the floor is improving every game. His touch around the basket, he's slowed down a little bit. He's more patient. He's understanding. It's a control aspect in the paint because he has such good touch. He doesn't always have to power through people, and that's what you saw a lot in San Diego. He has a high level of understanding, like defenses, how to read the defense, where the ball should go. The G League is very fast, and the guys are super physical. So at times I even think like it's faster than the NBA in a sense, where the reads might be a little bit off.
Would it be harder for a big like Hansen?
Yeah, I think a lot of bigs probably struggle in the G in that sense. I know Liam too. Sometimes I watched all his film from his NBA minutes. And he was able to get behind the defense. They would give the guard in the pick and roll way more attention.
Yeah.
So he was getting all these lobs and dunks, and in the NBA, in the G League, it's a little bit less attention in that respect. So he's not getting all those lobs like you would see. So it's. I wish it was A to A a lot of times, but it's not, and it takes an adjustment for these guys to come down. I'm sure C Love has noticed it too, where with Portland, the Trailblazers, he might be the 8th item on the scouting report.
Yeah.
When he comes to the G, he's number one.
Number one.
He's got the bullseye now. It's not Drew. It's not Denny and Shaden and those guys. It's going to be him. So it takes a different task on you mentally and physically, where these guys are sending their best defender. They're coming at you. They're making life tough on both ends. So it's an adjustment for everybody, but it's a great learning experience.
Yeah, okay, so this is a good point for the novice basketball fan out there. And it was described in this way with Denny Avdi as he continued his development with the Blazers, where so if you have a player who all of a sudden is number one on the scouting report, that means the team is doing everything they can focused in on stopping that player. Correct. Compared to where if they're down on the depth chart, they're not going to get the attention maybe that they would in this situation.
Exactly. And there was times C-Love for us with the Blazers was the primary guy because we had so many injuries, so he got a little bit of a taste of that. But it's way different. It's not that they don't pay attention to you. It's just they can't allocate all the same resources.
Exactly.
Like if you're going to double Denny, are you also going to double C-Love? No, you can't. It's very hard to double once, let alone two guys. So, it's just playing those games. And Jonah does a good job of trying to teach the guys not just like the checkers part of basketball, but some of the chess, going 2 for 1, 3 for 2, end of game situations, because that's for a lot of young guys. If you can put yourself in those situations and a coach with whatever team you're on can trust you in crunch time and in high leverage moments, that bodes well for your whole career.
Okay, one final question for you, Coach, and I appreciate your time. For people that are coming down, and I'm encouraging people to come down and support the Remix because it's a great environment here at Chiles Center. Like, if you're coming down to your first game, like, what are some things that you think people should pay attention to that they might enjoy?
I mean, the pace. The pace is amazing. The guys play extremely hard every possession. Like every part of every possession, they're playing for their careers, their livelihoods. None of them have guaranteed contracts. A lot of these guys don't even make that much money, so they're trying to prove it every time.
Yeah. And
that hunger and that drive when it flows onto the court is just awesome to watch.
You love that, don't you?
Yeah, it's great. It's a really good product. I don't know if everybody knows that or understands that because they don't always know who the players are, or it's hard to follow, or this guy went to a small school and he's a little bit of an unknown. But it is a really good product. I highly recommend it for other people. And all the guys are kind of in the same boat together, so there's a great camaraderie and rallying for each other. And they understand how much Alex has gone through the last couple of years, or Rome's been here for 3 years. Like, this really matters to him.
Yeah.
And so it's just that team aspect is awesome.
Well, I'll tell you what, Coach, I love your story, and I respect your grind, and I just wish you continued success, and thank you for making time for the show.
Yeah, thanks, Chad.
All right. We'll keep things rolling here from Chiles Center. Rip City Remix Day on the Rip City Drive here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Thanks, Chad. Appreciate you listening. Anytime. Are you guys always here, or what do you guys usually?
We're normally, we're from Moda Center for Blazer games, and our studio's out in Tiger, close to the Blazer facility, but I've been wanting to come down here to shine some light on the remix because I know what you guys are doing. All right, Rip City Remix Day on the Rip City Drive here at Chiles Center, and I just met one of my new favorite guys from Philly, and he's a big Philly sports fan, so we're talking about that. John Jensen, who is the director of ticketing for the Remix. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man, thank you. I appreciate it.
This is a great story. Tell me about the first time, because you grew up, so keep in mind, the Philly sports fans are the same people that would boo Mike Schmidt. So he goes to a Blazer game for the first time, and you said it was a weird experience.
My mind was blown when it's like the third quarter and, close game, but everyone's cheering. And I haven't heard boos the whole game. And I'm like, what's going on? Why are we not booing the ref? Why are we cheering for every single call? And,
yes.
Yeah, it's just an amazing experience.
Yeah, because being around Philly fans and knowing some people from Philly and then having a chance to take in the city. But what I love about it is this. I went there for Army-Navy. Travis and I went back, and it was such a awesome experience. And then I saw like arena and two stadiums, football, baseball, all right there next to each other, and the parking, everything was set up perfectly. I'm like, that's a sports town.
No, it's an amazing experience. Like, I've had opportunities where like you go to a Phillies game in the morning and then be able to head out to another game in the afternoon or whatever, and it's really cool.
Yeah, so it was awesome. I love it, and so that's great. So what brought you out to the West Coast?
I always wanted to work in sports. Took a baseball job actually in Boise, Idaho. Was working for the minor league baseball team there, the Boise Hawks, and then I was lucky enough to when they opened a Viking Pavilion at Portland State.
Amazing that they have that pavilion on their campus.
Unbelievable. And so they took me there. We walked around. I was like, oh, this will be really cool. Growing up in Philadelphia, same thing. College basketball is huge there.
Yeah, huge.
And so in the city, like be able to like go into the city and watch the games and support locally. And the idea of doing that at Portland and at University of Portland and at Portland State was like really an amazing opportunity for me. And so being able to do that at Viking Pavilion, I was really excited. It was 2019 going to 2020 season. They were like, okay, after the Big Sky tournament, you can start selling tickets. And so it was March 2020. And I actually remember packing the U-Haul to drive from Boise to Portland. And like the Rudy Gobert news came out. And then like they canceled all the college basketball things. I'm like texting the AD like, should I still come out here? Like, what's going on? She like gave me a laptop the first day. She's like, see you in a couple weeks, and I didn't see her for like 18 months. I was like, that's crazy. So
timing is everything, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm really happy to be here in Portland, so it worked out.
Okay, that's great. So I've been encouraging people. I want more people to get down here for Remix games because I love the environment, and obviously the basketball I think is much more high level than people even realize who aren't familiar with the G League. So when people ask you about the Remix, like how do you talk about it? What's the best way to describe it to people?
Family-friendly, affordable entertainment, number one thing. I think that's what we're going for. I think that we used to say it, and now we live it, which is really, really cool. When we first started, like, we didn't know who our fans were. Like, Reggie Walker, our senior director of marketing, myself, Hannah Groward, our president, like, we were here the first day when they, like, launched the team. We were actually at Chiles Center right out here. I remember sitting up in the stands when they unleashed the logo and everything. And we weren't sure. Like, I saw people going down to get ticket deposits. I was like, I should probably go down there and see what they're doing because I'm in charge of it. But and like I was like, I don't know who our fans are going to be. And we had a lot of Blazer fans that came out, which was really, really cool. But as we sort of grew from just the core hardcore Blazer fans, they started bringing their families, and then they started bringing their neighbors, and they started bringing friends that are Blazers fans but maybe don't go to as many games. And it started becoming a lot more like people inviting people that don't go to a lot of Blazers games or are Blazer fans but don't have those opportunities. Yeah. And it just kept growing from there to the point that I joked that on the weekends I basically just host like a play place that hosts birthdays all day. Yeah. Like that's what we do. So it's a lot of fun.
Okay, this is important because I know life is expensive, right? Especially with entertainment. And so let's talk about this because I think when I talk to friends, I'm like, who have kids especially, for Major League Sports, you look at the parking, the concessions, the ticket prices, and by the time you're looking at it for a family of four, it exceeds their budget for what they have going on. But here, like, what is the average cost of a ticket to get in the door to watch a Remix game?
So year one, we had, like, before I even started, the Blazers had set the tone that we're going to have $5 kids tickets available in 25% of the arena. Yeah. And we have stayed strong on that to this day, even despite the demand. So we have $5 tickets, weekends, weekdays, doesn't matter, for about 25% of our arena, and they're first come, first serve, obviously, but it allows families to be able to come out, kids 12 and under. The adult tickets we start as low now as $15. They do raise depending on weekend days, things like that, but we try to make it as affordable as possible, and then we have great partners with the University of Portland with our concessions here at the University of Portland, where we have like kids snack packs that start at $5, kids meals that start at $7, and they have like string cheese and fruit. And so not only are they affordable, but they're also the type of things that you'd want your kids having when you're going out to events, and not just giving them maybe a $12 hot dog or something.
Okay, this is beautiful. So let's do some quick math on this. So let's say you have a family of 4. So 2 adult tickets,
15 each.
15 apiece. So that's 30. The 2 kids tickets, that's $5. So that's 40.
Yep.
That's $40 to get in the door.
Yep.
And then let's say you buy a couple of kids snack packs, $5 a piece.
$50.
$50.
So $50, they're fed, they're good. And the other thing is, if we're going on a weekend, the game's at 3 p.m. So you do lunch at home, you do dinner at home, you just give them a snack in between, and you get a free kids zone. They can just go run around, and by the time they get home, they're ready for bed anyway.
That's a win.
Yeah, 100%.
Because what the whole afternoon that you just explained is what some people pay in parking prices for some sporting events.
That's the other thing, is free parking here at the University of Portland.
Free parking.
Not only on campus, but even days like today where we have campus, like the classes are going on, baseball's going on right next door, and there's something here. You can park in the neighborhood here, and it's an easy walk. There's plenty of street parking. It's free. Everyone feels comfortable coming to the game, so it's just.
I agree. And if you haven't been down here, a lot of people have, but if you haven't been down here on the bluff, in North Portland around the campus, the neighborhood's beautiful, and it's safe.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And the other thing I think we're trying to now grow is not only that family environment, but there's a lot of fun things to do in North Portland. Like, there's a lot of cool bars, there's a lot of cool restaurants.
Yes.
We have games that start at 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m., depending on the day of the week, and for the weekdays. And what a great opportunity to come down, get a drink at a bar, get some food, come over here to the game. We got beer started like $9 here, so it's not the end of the world for like the tall boy IPA. So like, come here, have a good time, then go back out maybe after. But I think that utilizing this area and what we can do in this area and what fans can do in this area is really cool as well.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I stopped and got a cup of coffee at Blend right up there at Killingsworth and Greeley on my way out here. I love
exactly.
that. Yeah. I love how every part of Portland's got its own character, but North Portland, you're right. A lot of great little options where you can stop and get something to eat, come over and check out the remix and do it that way.
Yeah.
That's terrific. Now, do you do, aside from single game tickets, what about some of the season ticket options or ticket packages?
So yeah, we have season ticket options. In year one, we had a lot of people coming out for 24 games, checking it out. I think what we've learned is a lot of people, they've never been here. They don't know how often they can come to the games. Our schedule is, we try to schedule them when Blazer games aren't going on, but it's hard. We're also balancing with the University of Portland, things like that. And so what we're trying to do is get even more flexible with our ticket packages, and I think we're going to look into options where you can join the mix, as we call it, or like becoming a season ticket member of the remix. You can join the mix for as low as 3 games just to get in and really feel like you're part of something that's part of the community. Because I think the one thing we've learned from our fans is they like coming to the games because it feels like you're part of the greater Rip City community without having to pay the Blazer price. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that obviously gets you access to a different thing than what you'd get here.
So what you've learned is that your fans or the people that you're seeking aren't necessarily Trailblazer fans. It could be just normal people looking to have good family fun.
And they like watching the games on TV. Maybe they'll go to one Blazer game a year. Maybe they can't get their kids to every game because they got young kids, but they'll come to 4 or 5 of these games. They'll get to take photos on the court after the games. Maybe we'll give them some swag. Their kids will get free T-shirts, and it makes them feel like they're part of Rip City without having to invest, like you said, what it sometimes costs for a live entertainment investment.
Okay, you just touched on something that's important for parents out there that would want to bring their kids down. The access, being able to take pictures on the floor, being closer to the players than you would in like an NBA environment, like it's different down here.
Unbelievable. The craziest story I have, I think I can say this, but a couple of Fridays ago we had a game. We were playing the Valley Suns. Hansen was playing for us, and we had a choir that was like, they had done like the anthem before the game, and then they're up in the stands. They're 10 rows up or something like that, center court. And every time he checks in, they got their signs up there. They're saying, "Young Hansen, we love you, we love you." And every time he checked in, he'd wave to him. And then they would cheer really loud, and he would smile, and you'd see how happy he was. And like, that's the kind of like experience that for him is unbelievable, but for the fans is like life changing. Like those kids, like I can't imagine. Like I said, I grew up in Philly, huge Sixers fan. I couldn't imagine waving at Allen Iverson and him waving back or whatever the case is. It's just really cool.
Now, what was your nickname and when you were younger? Was it Mini AI?
Yeah. So I won this basketball MVP tournament in 3rd grade, and I I think they called me Little AI, though, not because of the talent on the court.
Yeah.
But my dad was the coach, and at one point the ref was, like, yelling at me, and I threw the ball down, and then I think that's when they said Little AI is getting upset. But I'll take it as the talents.
All right. So, for you, like, you're like, who's on your, like, Philadelphia Mount Rushmore of athletes? Like, who do you love the most? AI's got to be up there?
Oh, AI for sure has to be up there. I was in Philadelphia in 2008. I went to the parade when the Phillies won the World Series, which was unbelievable. So for me, like, those teams for sure are up there, and Jimmy Rollins was, like, the guy on that team. Like,
I love Jimmy.
He was the guy that was, I think, like, the heart and soul of those Phillies teams. So that he'd have to be up there as well. And then from a football side, I mean, we were kind of talking about this before, but the first Super Bowl I was around for, my boy Nick Foles, he's my guy. Like, he'll always be my guy. Like, the run that they went on, like, him catching that ball, like, them beating Tom Brady, like, especially beating Tom Brady, was unbelievable. I mean, I have friends from Boston, and so being able to talk to them and talk crap to them was awesome. So
he's going to be a legend there forever. The great thing about Nick Foles is, like, it's not like he was handing it off. Like, he literally outdueled Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
He was gunslinging, and I think that was unbelievable. We couldn't believe it, but yeah, still to this day.
You told me that you were so nervous the first time you watched it that you had to go back and watch it again to enjoy it.
I literally did. Like, the whole time, I think it was the year after Tom Brady had beat the Falcons. So the whole time you're like, oh, he's just going to come back. Like, we're going to lose. This is classic Philadelphia meltdown. Like, there's no chance. And so actually, like, I had friends over. We watched the game. They all left. My wife's like, are you going to bed? And I was like, no. And then, like, NFL Network, like, had it on again. And I rewatched the whole thing. And I think I went to bed at, like, 3 in the morning. I was, like, crying. And she's like, what? I was like, we won the Super Bowl. She's like, yeah, that was, like, 5 hours ago. I was like, no, you don't understand. I'm experiencing it now.
Is she from Philly, too?
She's not. She's actually from China. So right now I'm the most popular person in her family. So I'll say
they
that.
Probably think you're crazy, right?
So for years when I worked in minor league baseball, they're like, why does this guy work in sports? And now I like to joke that working for the Blazers, I'm more popular than, like, all the doctor relatives.
Oh, because they love Hansen.
Oh yeah, I'm the man now. So.
That is so great. All right, John Jensen with us. So, anything else you want to get out? I mean, you did a great job of covering it, but
yeah, I mean, I think that what we kind of talked about, like, it's a really the remix is a great opportunity as the Blazers continue to get better, and as we continue to, like, really expand, like, the skill level that we have here with the Blazers, to get the opportunity to see these young guys, like, up close and personal. I can't tell you how many fans we've actually been talking to this week that are really excited about the Raptors coming to town, the possibility of Markelle Fultz playing with them. And so not only are you seeing great players on the Rip City Remix, but you're seeing players on these other teams that are playing and being able to see them up close and like, you know, personal as well, which is really cool.
All right, Director of Ticketing John Jensen here on the Rib City Drive. I appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, man, of course. No, this was great.
Classic Philly. You were saying, I don't even need to go on after these guys. What else can I possibly say? And you crushed it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. This was great.
All right, I appreciate you. All right, John Jensen here on the Rib City Drive. We'll keep things rolling here. We'll come back and get ready for tip-off coming up at 6. South Bay Lakers are in town. It's Rib City Remix Day on the Rib City Drive. 6 minutes. All right, a big shout out to the Rip City Remix, especially Kat K, who she is a sweetheart who is terrific at her job. And, Michael Shacker was on my ass about getting out here to Chiles Center for a remix game. And today it finally worked in the schedule. We were able to come out and do it. And I reached out to Kat and told her what we were looking to accomplish. She's like, hey, I think that's a great idea. And so I offered up the entire show, and she just systematically took care of business and set us up with some great interviews today. And this is one of the things I enjoy most about radio is having the flexibility to be mobile. Like, we can go anywhere and broadcast, which is awesome, like literally anywhere. And I've tried to broadcast from all these different places over the course of time. And so to be able to come down here and set up and broadcast and have Shacker with me and be able to talk to different people within the organization, it's been fun. So I've really enjoyed it today. And anytime, right now, I don't want to be in the studio right now anyways. It's like a madhouse inside of what they're doing. I told you we're what do they call that? Remodeling everything at our Tigard Studios. And it's like just a bunch of buffoons in there with hard hats running around making a bunch of noise with all their machinery. And then they just walk into the studio like in the middle of the show. I still can't get over that one. Dude in a hard hat, two different dudes. They walk in, have no clue of what's going on. And he's like, is that outlet in? Is it plugged in? Dude, I'm on air. You think I'm going to answer you right now? Look, I understand that you don't work in radio and you may not understand how a studio works, but that light that's on right outside the door, that's an indicator. And someone probably told you that you're going to be working and doing construction inside of like a studio. There are people talking in there. Bizarre. So anyways, I'm going to stay away from that place as much as possible. And I'm still mad at them for throwing away my box of stuff. And no questions asked. They just threw it away. Anyways, I'll get over that sometime in the near future. But a big thanks to the Rip City Remix. And here in a few minutes, I'll be able to roll out and watch a little young Hansen in action. And I'm very happy to see the Blazers get the win last night. Also, I'm going to be, where am I going to be? Spirit Mountain Casino tomorrow. Oh, no, not tomorrow. That's Wednesday. I'll be down there on Thursday for the tournament. Show will start at 3 inside of the Bet MGM Sportsbook. So I encourage you to come down. Get your vasectomies, get sick, whatever you got to do to miss work and come hang out with me at Spirit Mountain Casino. You know the deal. You know the routine. Tournament day, man. I love the beginning of the tournament. The first 4 days are the best, by far. And on paper, it looks like it's going to be an unpredictable tournament. So you can come down and join me. And everything you need there, if you're looking to get in on the action, side bets, parlays, teasers, totals, in-game betting, parlays. You do whatever you want. But just come down and join me, and we can watch some basketball. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And then tomorrow, the Blazers going to be in action in Indiana against the Pacers. And it looks like Ant's going to be out of that game on Friday against the Timberwolves. That's a good thing. So an opportunity for the Blazers to collect another win. And I think Brian No's getting close to cashing in on his over totals, too, with the Blazers. What did I text him the other night? I couldn't remember exactly what he had. So I text Bino of Fox Sports Radio. And see, this is where my daughter's doing good work. The house needs Diet Coke. All right, appreciate that. All right, where's Brian No at? Depending on when you put in the wager, depending on what you got the win total at for the Blazers. Okay, let's see what we got here for Brian No. Let's see here. Okay. He's got an over on the Blazers at 34.5 and an over on the Blazers at 38.5. All right, so if we just go through the schedule right now, they're going to hit at least 40 wins. There's no question about that. The question is how much. I mean, they got some easy games on tap coming up. All right, so where they are right now, 33. So let's just do a little win count here for the Blazers and where we think they're going to finish up at. They play at Indiana tomorrow. That's a win. And then they play at Minnesota. They don't have Ant. Let's just, let's be kind and give them the benefit of the doubt. That's 2. They will lose in Denver because they typically do. Back home to face Brooklyn, win. Milwaukee, win. Dallas, win. And Washington, who is just god-awful, win. That's 6. Lose at the Clippers, beat the Pelicans, lose at Denver again, lose at the Spurs. They got a chance to get 9. Yeah, I think 42. I would say right now 42 and 40 is a good spot, which means Noah will cash in on both of his over bets on the Blazers. All right, a big thanks to Cat K from the Remix and to all of our guests who joined us today. I enjoyed having a conversation with each and every one of them. Head coach of the Remix, Jonah Herskue. We talked with analyst Devon Pouncey, Omar Leary, Boomer Sooner, the community and group sales manager, Gareth Kwok, the play-by-play broadcaster. We talked to the director of ticketing, John Jensen, who was terrific, and also assistant coach Charles Klask. So big thanks to all of our guests and to all of you for listening. Trailblazers tomorrow, game day with Burkhart at 2:30, tip-off at 4:30 against the Pacers right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Michael Shacker, my engineer, is the man.